2017. Welcome to another episode of Redacted. Every time I catch bored off guard,
Jesus Christ, that scared me.
I give a countdown. I do everything. It's amazing. I love it. Today we are not joined by Twerk, and I thought of it literally in the last minute. We should have kept his box, and I could have made a little thing where I could have moved his mouse like a South Park character. And we could, yeah. I'm Twerk 17. I'm Twerk 3.0.
I agree with Saurus and Borg.
Everything they say. Oh man, so good, so good. But yeah, he had to work. I know he's been taking it a little light on the streaming as well lately because he's got all kinds of stuff going on. We were supposed to have the Nubifier on, but he was also unable to make it. So you get myself and BoredGamer today for 3.0.
I'm basically asleep as well. I've just come back from the weekend, got a cold, I'm asleep.
Yeah, you were just at I-60, right?
Yeah, oh my god. It was, I mean, I was
intense
with Cameron from CIG, and he doesn't sleep. He doesn't sleep. He sleeps me under the table, as it were. Doesn't sleep me under the table. You know what I mean?
Sleep him under the table. Wait,
yeah,
you guys sleep together underneath the table? Confirm, God, guys. No. Get that up on Reddit. Let the world know that Cameron and Bored are sleeping together under the table.
There was 24
So does that mean there's no taxes involved, or?
There was 24-hour game sprints of Rust and stuff.
Yeah.
And we play Rust a lot, and we're pretty good. And we'd be on servers where everyone else had gone to bed, and we'd be up there until some days just not sleeping, just doing our base. And oh, it was good, but we're so tired. Oh, tired.
You look good now, though. You're...
Thanks, mate.
No worries.
Appreciate it.
No worries. So yeah, let's jump into stuff. We have update on Terrellian has released his Combined Arms 2.0. If you guys haven't checked that out,
it's going to be 36 minutes long.
Oh my god, I thought it was going to be like 10 or 15 minutes. I didn't expect it to be like a billion minutes long. If you want to do me a favor, or if anybody in chat has that link and you could post it in chat, it's really awesome. It's really well done.
It's a proper feature. It's a proper little mini film.
Well, it's like, and it's like you know, if he made 6 of those or 12 of those throughout a year, I don't know how long this takes. What was it? It wasn't that long ago he released the first one, though.
So he made the first one and realized he had to split it into 2 because there was so much he wanted to do.
Right.
So I'm not entirely sure how much of that he had done.
Okay.
When he'd done the first one. It might have been a totally new project, effectively, or it might have been part of it already done. But it's pretty quick. It's pretty quick.
Yeah, he could make a whole TV show, you know, once a month. Yeah. Like I don't know how much it would. I wouldn't be able to.
And he's using CryEngine as well, so
yeah,
it's much more impressive. And you know the tools are pretty crappy, so compared to what's available.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll move on to the Lumberyard engine. Hopefully it has some good similar tools, but a lot more power. Camera
tools, or he's able to do some stuff in game with the camera tools and things like that, right?
Cinema. Yeah.
Which would be equally as impressive.
Not telling you how to do your job, Terrellian. You're the best.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, and if you haven't, definitely go check that out for sure. Yeah. So this week, wow, content. Hey.
So for you, Saurus, it's probably like fucking Christmas. For me, it's like it's Christmas, but I'm Santa, and all my reindeer have gone on strike, and I'm having to take presents to all the boys and girls by them fucking selves. By myself. I'm so tired. There's so much for me to do. I've got BritizenCon on the weekend as well.
Yeah.
I'm in such a bad mood.
And there's so many different videos you can be making of all of this stuff.
I know, and I'm just so tired, and I've got to work. I've got to do these videos.
The children need their presents.
Yeah, the children need their presents, otherwise they think they've been naughty. Like, why isn't BoredGamer making video? Does he not like me? That's how the children talk. I'm so tired. But I mean, it's amazing what we've had this week.
Yeah, definitely. And even before we go into all of the information and everything. Something I've noticed is even with the 3.0 schedule, I've seen a lot of faces back that I haven't seen in a while. Like, you know, you get a lot of people who have taken a break because they're waiting for the more content to come in. So all of this stuff comes back in, and you see this wave of new people and wave of people you haven't seen in a while, which is really nice. And you see more activity in the game as well. Even though it's the same content, everybody's sort of rejuvenated, I feel like.
Hyped. They're hyped again,
hyped.
Saurus.
Yeah. Hyped back up.
I don't think there's been a game that has been so hype up and down as Star Citizen. Like, you can just go, and this is happening, and people are hyped again, and then they're like, oh, but I've got to wait 3 months. And then they're hyped again in a month's time when something else comes out on ATV.
And then,
it's like working in a balloon factory and just keep on pumping up those balloons of hype.
Yeah.
So tired.
Guys, it's gonna be an interesting podcast. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna start with new object interaction.
Oh, so this is from ATV. So let's do the ATV stuff, then we'll move on to 3.0.
Yeah.
So we've got the new object interaction system that they were showing in ATV, which is literally pick up objects, flip them, turn them around. This is going to be in 3.1, I think, actually, as well. Yeah. And if you can't manipulate an object and put it down, you can throw it. Ah!
Yeah.
If it's too far away.
It was also with the like the ship controls, being able to push those buttons and things like that. And I'm starting to wonder that if you have that and you see those things, are we going to see animations that correspond with those actions? So are you going to see their hand go over and toggle a switch or poke a button?
I think we have to. It's a Chris Roberts game, and he wants supreme fidelity. We've got those interactive MFDs, so they're going to need a mixture of hotkeys that actually do those actions, but also that you can do it with your mouse as well. And I think it has to be there as part of.
Yeah, and then sort of my next thing on that, it would be if you're using the hotkeys, do you think it would do the same thing as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Has to, because they want those first and third person animations to tie up. And it's important for the game that it's all tied up. It's hell for them. It's absolute hell for them to get all these millions of animations in and everything. But if they're doing what they're doing and they're tying all the first and third person animations together, and they want the supreme fidelity, they have to.
And I mean, if we go back to how they've done the cafeteria, as everybody loves the cafeteria animations, and they have, if they have some sort of they don't have to do bespoke animations for each ship. If they can have some sort of layout like they do with the placemats for the inside of ships and the pushing of buttons, then a lot of those things can be transferred over to other ships. Now, I don't know if that's something they're going to be able to do, or if it's something that they'll have to make, proprietary animations for all the ships, or maybe it's these are the Drake ships, these are the Misk ships, these are the Aegis ships, or whatever, because where the panels are and everything for the single seater ships.
A lot of that stuff will be hand keyed, so some of it will be mocap based and then changed a bit for hand keyed. So I don't know how much effort it is. I'm assuming not too much effort. Just change it for different ships. Although it's going to be totally different in certain ships, isn't it?
Yeah, like
switch it's up here, it's a button down here.
Hornet compared to the Buccaneer, it could be different. Or you're looking at the Merlin or the Archimedes, or whatever. The buttons are going to be in slightly different places. So I'm curious on if that's the route that they're going to go, and it's definitely feeling that way. Then how are they going to implement all of that?
I bet one button gets overly used in the ship.
Yeah, just one button, and it eventually wears out, and you have to go and repair that button after a certain amount of pushes.
Most of the functionality for my ship. Oddly, it's like they had to reuse the same animation.
Next thing up is stamina animations were shown.
What did you think of this? Because this was, if you're running and you're getting out of stamina, you might not be able to mantle or vault over walls based on how tired you are.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about this a little bit before the podcast, and it's like the tired one where he steps up and he's like, I'm too tired, and he steps back. It's like I feel like it would have been good if he just sort of like went and hugged it. I'm trying, like, you know what I mean, like on his side, and just sort of rolled and fell over and then got up, instead of a full fail state. I mean, it's The vault.
You're so tired, you hit it and you ragdoll.
Yeah, you kind of ragdoll over it, kind of thing. I mean, it's one of those things. I see why they put the fail state in, and I know that vaulting is usually used as a shortcut. It's not a necessary way, right? If there's a barrier there, there's usually stairs or a ladder nearby, or another walkway or whatever. There's other ways to get to wherever we need to go instead of vaulting over it. The vaulting is just sort of the faster way. So it is good because it does give negative side effects to going through your stamina. Overall, I think the stamina system is great, and I think it's going to help out with how tactical Star Marine and the FPS in general is going to feel. And I think it's really important. Right now, you can just run forever, and it doesn't help to mitigate that sort of arcade feel.
But very few people use any form of cover because you can run and gun so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to stop to catch your breath or like hunker down.
In conjunction with that, they're going to have suit punches as well. So we
Yes.
saw literal bullets. And obviously this was going to happen, but I just never thought of it until I saw it. Bullets penetrate the suit, and you're going to have leaks from that you're going to have to patch or get to a safe area.
I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't sure we were gonna get it in the way that we have it, and I think it's going to be wherever it punctures. That's where you're gonna see that little effect of the oxygen or whatever leaking out into.
Maybe it repels you in EVA slightly.
In the vacuum, yeah. You're trying to shoot, and you have a puncture in your arm, and it's always like, it's like you have a flat tire on your right hand on the front of your car, and you're trying to drive straight.
Like you're having a flat tire while also slowly suffocating.
While slowly running out of oxygen and dying in the empty vastness of space.
And they talked here about O2 recharging and depressurization and stuff as well. Like, I'm not entirely sure how O2 recharging will work, other than just going up to some form of terminal or getting a gas canister.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be interesting because we don't really have like a backpack with oxygen in it, right? Like, you know, if there's like scuba gear or SCBA stuff or whatever, you have those oxygen tanks on your back. So I'm curious to know how that's gonna work as well. Like, maybe
the oxygen in game could be being made out of some form of chemical that is very
like some sort of solid oxygen that goes in a small compartment.
We live in the future.
Gasifies or something.
Yeah. So we are the best with technical wordage.
I'm pretty sure
gasifying solid oxygen.
Yeah, gasify solid ox. There you go. We also saw the kiosk.
Yeah, so we saw the front end UIs for the shopping kiosks. And I think we're going to get different ones per manufacturer based on what station we're on. If we're on, I don't know, we're in a Kasaba outlet, we'll have this particular one. If we're in a more generalistic sort of like Cry Astro service, we'll have one for their brand as well.
One of the things that struck to me is while the colors are different and like maybe the font is different for each place, the layout is agnostic and the same across the board, right? You have it's three things, and it shows a picture of it and whatever. And do you think that it's gonna stay that way, and it's gonna stay for ease of use?
The short term, it definitely has to. When they get it in, I would like to probably eventually see a bit more brand feature them, so a bit different.
Yeah.
But it's not essential. Like, it'd be cool to have, but I'm a horse.
You're a horse.
I'm a horse.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to get these things in and be able to start buying stuff and messing around in the economy for sure. I know that's something you're really looking forward to. So get used to those screens.
It's a hook to play the economy. So the reason that pirates go to piracy is to make money effectively.
That's right.
And they go and pirate people that are trying to make money honestly through the economy, and pirates are part of the economy. It's all part and parcel of the same thing.
And we were just talking about this with the animations, but the interactive cockpits. Now, something that I saw from this is you can see that the ship's name is called Cool McCool. Do you think that is the ship itself, or do you think that's maybe the new ship naming stuff that's in, where that's the name of the ship that the player gave the ship?
It occurred to me that if Item System 2.0 works for ships, I should be able to name my ship.
Mm-hmm.
Fully. Like, that shouldn't be an issue because it's got a unique ID anyway. So I'm thinking that maybe it's the name of the actual physical ship.
Yeah, now they didn't talk about this in ATV at all. This was just something that I noticed, and I was like, oh, this probably is in. I already have names for all of my ships. I don't know if you do, or if it's something you've even put any thought into.
No, I have not really. I don't have the attachment to any of them enough to name them because I don't have a lot of them in the verse. Like, if I spend all of my time on my Reclaimer and my A90,
right?
Obviously,
yeah. I guess I only have the Drake ships really, so I have those all ready to go. But yeah, I'm really interested to know what you guys out there, either in chat or in the comments, what names do you have for your ships, if any? And yeah, let us know what they are, because I don't know. I just find that interesting. I'm not one to get into the RP stuff too much, but that's one thing where it's like that customization and like the personalization of things is really important to me in games. To make me feel more involved, I guess is the best way of doing that. But yeah, like for example, I'm naming my Caterpillar after the Arcadia in Captain Harlock. So little fun things to think about. New render tech, and we've talked about this previously, right? We talked this way back when they showed the
Gamescom 3.0
the Levski landing demo.
Yeah. So now they don't need to. This is render to texture. They don't need to pre-render visuals. Means that they don't need to have lots of stuff happening on your hard drive. They can use this in loads of different ways as well. Like they can use that for videos that they want to do, like we said in the Gamescom 3.0 demo. That guy's going, "Welcome to landing," or whatever the fuck he says.
And Bored could be like dancing behind him, and you'd see it on the screen.
I'm trying to. Oh my god, you could literally photobomb as many pilots as you can coming into land.
Also, remember this too. We have that other ship, right? The
Mako?
The Mako, yeah, that's the camera ship. And that leads me to believe that is there a possibility, instead of carrying around a weapon, like a shoulder-mounted railgun, which we're going to get into later this podcast, maybe a shoulder-mounted camera, right? For you have these news agencies, because they're going to need to implement that tech anyways for the Mako, right? Do you think that it's a possibility that you could have something like a camera you can carry around that can send that feed out to whatever, and we could be out in the verse, me, you, and Twerk, right? Somewhere out in the middle of the verse in a hidden location. We get one of our viewers come out as a cameraman and record us doing the podcast in game.
Oh my god, too much role play. Too much role play. I mean, I love the idea of it. If they can do shit like that, that would be amazing. I mean, I'm not gonna hold my breath. But, I mean, Star Citizen's the game would do it if they could.
Definitely.
I do think that would be a great idea, and I do think that would be cool. I'm not sure how the Mako's gameplay is going to work. I'm not sure how... Because if they can do render to texture properly, I suppose you could do that.
Yeah.
Film a race and have it...
Right, because if they can render... Because it's setting up a camera... Let's say, for example, with the Levski landing zone, right? It's setting up a camera in front of where the air traffic control is. So if you took that and mobilized it and put it on a camera asset on the Mako, or you put it on a camera asset that you would carry around like a weapon, then there's no reason that feed wouldn't be able to render to display somewhere, either in a ship, on a TV, on wherever. So I that was just when they first talked about this. That's immediately where my mind went. Now, I didn't expect them to show the radar and stuff like they did with this. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think we're going to get something like that for every kind of building you go into?
I mean, I don't know. Is that there's the issue with that? And I was too. When watching that segment, I was like, I'm going to get a different FOV.
Yeah, that was definitely the big thing. And which is going to be important, especially if they want to go into VR and everything. I know a lot of people, they need those higher FOVs. Some people get motion sick from moving around. Obviously, there's, you know, when talking about VR, you're going to want 110 degrees field of view just for that. Otherwise, it feels really weird. I don't know if you've done any VR games with a small field of view, like any demos or anything, but it feels like
millions. I used to have a DK2. I feel like
okay,
constantly vomiting, mate.
Yeah. It does not feel good at all. And then my last question to you would be, how do you feel about the new overlay in general for the HUD? Like, for me, it looks a lot more crisp, a lot cleaner.
So this sort of stuff, I don't really have opinions on until I get hands-on tests. Even when looking at it, my brain just goes, might be different by the time I get it. But yeah, it looks more crisp. I liked the way it wrapped around. I understand the render to texture stuff for it's gonna help it make it a bit faster. They can do a lot more with it. I need to play with it.
Yeah, that's fair. They also talked about audio, and now instead of just hearing audio from a source and then being close or far away from that source, that audio is now going to go and travel through corridors, travel through open windows, open doors. So if you hear something 4 rooms away, it has to travel through those doorways. The audio has to travel and bounce and reflect through those doorways and through those different rooms.
You're going to be able to follow that audio to its source really fucking easily.
Yeah.
The idea. Like, you're going to go, I can hear a banging. Here it is. I hear gunshots. That might echo a bit more, but...
And the positional audio and everything. And do you think that will carry over to when Spectrum is in game with the voice?
I think it might, because they want to do local voices as well, don't they? They want to do proximity-based voice stuff. So, yeah, probably... there are issues with that, but if that becomes a way that people can then ambush you because they can hear you talking, people will then use Discord.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a balance there.
There definitely needs to be a balance with that, so people are more inclined to use the in-game thing, definitely. And I think that's more a discussion of when we start to get Spectrum in and voice in for that. The Hull C is being worked on. This is a ship I wasn't expecting them to be working on. They haven't really said anything, and they're actually pretty far with this.
Yeah, I mean, they polish ships for sodding ages. But the Hull C looks great. But you talked about earlier about it might be the first ship to use the new light controller.
Yeah.
As well. And
I think that means that you're going to be able to turn on and off lights within the ship manually, I think. I know that
the new light controller, it does a couple of things. I think it might actually physically allow you to control the lights on a ship. But I also think it's the way that it controls the entities and compiles the light entities from thousands into hundreds of entities, which is a lot more resource efficient. So
yeah,
light switch, I think Big Ross described it as.
The environment of it looked great. The lighting in the Hull C looks really awesome. It's a ship I'm really excited to explore. I guess I'll throw explore in quotes.
Yeah, explore.
Yeah. You know, just
you want to get those cargo ships in the verse as quick as you can, I suppose, don't you?
Yeah.
As soon as cargo's there, so you
as soon as cargo and everything's in, then I have more things to do than just fight. It gives more depth to my play.
I worked out that's why people were pissy at pirates in forums, because there's not that much for pirates to do at the moment other than kill. That's what it is. There's no reason to be a pirate because you're not making money. There is a mission where you can murder.
Right. But there's no real, like, oh, I have to choose whether I want to disable or blow this up. And the thing is, I don't have the tools to disable other ships to be like, okay, and then whatever. You might as well blow them up. We know there's no penalty for that anyways, with the exception of having to wait.
You can make money, can't you?
Yeah.
So if more kills you get, the more money you make as a pirate. If you're
yeah, and that's just how it is right now. That'll change as time goes on, I believe. But I'm really excited.
System coming in 3.1.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. Oh, we have all kinds of stuff to talk about that. The Razor is also in work in progress. This is a really cool ship. And once again, it was something that I had actually forgotten about entirely.
It's super quick for them to make, the Razor. There's no extra mechanics that they need for it. And it's a small ship. Bam. It's going to be in really fucking early. Like, it's going to be in so early. I think that might be in 3.1 as well.
Yeah, so this is a small little race ship. Have you been doing any racing at all lately?
I'm not a fan of racing unless I can shoot people while racing.
Okay, and we don't have those races in yet?
Not yet.
No, we know that they're coming at some point.
Races? Watch all the streamers race.
Yeah, I used to, as you guys may know, but just with the older tracks and the new physics, it's sort of lost its luster for me. Hoping that when we get the Grimhex stuff in, and especially planet side stuff, racing one of these ships or an M50 or an 85X or even a Dragonfly or something close to the planet's surface and having to avoid stuff and do whatever, even if it's not an actual race in the game, being able to sort of make those sort of just for fun and do it with viewers or do it with random people in the game, I think will be quite fun. It'll be interesting to see if they make like different skins for this as well, for the race ships in particular. Like this one we're looking at right now is like a Microtech one, Microtech bearing MISC. It would be cool if they had a different one that was like, ArcCorp or one for some shipping company or Kovlex.
Yeah, you get paid by your sponsors the better that you do as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you make your money doing racing, which would be all right. Moving forward, FPS weapons. Oh, sorry, I missed something here. This is something. Yeah, that is you trolling me. This is something that when we showed it, some people were excited for it, and some people were like, "No, I don't want it." So it seems to be very, very polarizing, and that is the engine trails. Now, how do you feel about these?
I don't care. I literally have the feeling I don't really care. I mean, I saw lots of people being really salty. I saw lots of people saying, "Oh, it looks amazing." I don't care. Engine trails. I'm not looking at the engine trails when I'm fighting. Oh,
right.
Sometimes.
That being said, don't you think that it's going to help? I personally think the reason I like them is, number one, it makes things visually more interesting, and that's what CIG tries to do with everything. They're trying to make everything look as good and as visually interesting as possible. Number one. Number two is for that combat, for when you get guys that fly right by you and do the jousting or do whatever. This is a way to easier track them, right? So you're going to be able to follow, like you can see that trail and you'll be able to follow that instead of having to rely on that small little arrow that's in your HUD or whatever, if that changes later on. Or look at your radar by the actual physical attributes of what the ship's doing. What I would like to see with this as well is have the engine trails match the color of the thrusters of the ship.
Oh, I'd like there to be a reason for them to be the color they are. Whatever that is, if it's because thrusters that color, whatever. But I think that I like the idea that it makes people easier to track. I've got no problem lowering skill curve if it's just my eyes can track it easier. That's fine.
Yeah, and it's also available to everybody.
Yeah,
right. It's not like, oh, you only have it with this ship or this ship.
My concern would be that eventually there is too much. You said visually pleasing. You don't want visual clutter though. So just there needs to be a level of you don't want too much on the screen constantly and loads of shit happening because you're just not appreciating a lot of the stuff. So
what are your thoughts if there was engine trails only when you were on Afterburn?
Maybe.
Or thrust.
I don't know. As long as it's subtle enough anyway, it doesn't really matter if it's on constantly. And there needs to be some form of reason for it. But yeah, maybe just on thrust, just on afterburner, maybe.
Yeah, that may be a good middle ground for CIG to look at to sort of please both sides, right? So it's not always streaks across, you know, it streaks across the screen all the time. But when you can see from a visual standpoint when someone's like, you know, boosting up to a faster speed or whatever.
Yeah.
They've also reworked the energy rifle, the shotgun, and shown some more of the Scourge railgun. As Bored is animating for us right now.
Thank you. I did the animations for the Scourge railgun.
Yeah, there you go. One of the things with the Scourge railgun in particular is it seemed to have the same sounds as the sniper rifle. Now, I'm not sure if this is a placeholder or it's not, but it sounded exactly the same as the sniper rifle does to me in game now.
It's probably just a placeholder.
Yeah.
You need all the weapons to be audibly and visually distinctive, unless they're using exactly the same ammo for some reason. Because you still probably want them to be audibly distinctive, quite different rates and stuff.
Yeah, in a later video, not the one we're watching right now, they did show the Scourge railgun, and this could change later on, but it did seem to fire pretty quickly in succession.
Yeah, there's no reason why it would fire slowly. I mean, it's just because it's big doesn't mean slow.
Right, right. But we do know that this is something, as it was. Once again, I don't know if this is how they're implementing it now or if things have changed, but this is something that they wanted players to be able to use against smaller ships as well.
I'm hoping we'll see it in Star Marine.
Yeah.
I want to run around and shoot people with a railgun.
And just blow a giant hole right through their chest.
I want it to have, because I'm not sure if railgun. I mean, people were trying to show me if railguns had
100%. I totally understand what you're saying.
But what I mean is, I want there to be guns that are shoulder mounted. That when I fire in EVA, I instantly regret that decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. I want to be rocketing backwards into the sun.
Or instead of even rocking it backwards, it just puts you into a backwards spin.
Yeah. I mean, that's
like you're just there.
Gun, but like the rocket launchers and other shoulder mounted weapons that we're going to be getting. I do want them to be some silly ones that go, well, that was a mistake.
Well, maybe next time have 2 feet on the ground.
Yeah, or another one pointing the opposite direction.
And they showed some new reload animations for the shotgun and the energy rifle. And my question to you is, this goes back into those bespoke animations. Do you think we're going to have different reloads for every different gun?
Only if their magazine is in a different place. Some of the weapons are semi-modular, sort of like they're going to be ranges of weapons which are pretty similar, except they have different barrels and bits and bobs on them. So they don't all need to be entirely bespoke, but each of the manufacturers and ranges that they do should have their own look and feel. Yeah,
like we're looking at the energy rifle right now, and it has like what looks like sort of like a plasma battery or something that goes in the barrel itself. And I'm wondering if they're gonna use that animation or that ammunition type for other weapons, possibly by that same manufacturer.
If that manufacturer does a similar weapon, then yes. If it doesn't, then no. Would be my expectation.
Right.
They want those bespoke animations as bespoke as possible. They want them to be very, very uniquely defined by the manufacturers.
And yeah, so that was all of the UK stuff. They also now this ATV actually wasn't very long. It was only what, 26 minutes, I think.
I didn't mind. That was nice.
It was nice. It did come out pretty late at night. I think it came out like literally 10 seconds before the end of the day, like 11:59, 58 or something. on the West
That's why
Coast here.
they troll us sometimes. They CIG troll us.
I also feel that. Now, I have a bunch of questions in here. If you want to go through those, I'm going to pull up this ship shape was I'm going to be a little punny here. Was the biggest ship shape we've had. Yeah. Bad jokes are bad. First things first. We knew this was a Javelin. They had talked about it earlier in the episode. For me, I wasn't expecting to see the Javelin before I was going to see the Idris. This level of detail. I thought we would have...
Kind of all been working on at the same time because they're all important for Squadron 42.
Yeah, so... but knowing that the Idris is a smaller ship, and knowing that they had more of the Idris done previously, did that come to a surprise to you as well? That they showed a lot more of the Javelin than they showed of the Idris?
I don't know, really. Like, I've seen more of both ships than other people have. Mm-hmm. So it's an odd thing to balance in my head. There's definitely more they could show us if they wanted to, but I think they need to be a surprise.
Right.
So their choices are... I don't know why. I don't know why they're showing more of the Javelin than of the Idris. But I was surprised about how much was done of it. To be honest.
Yes.
There's a lot of it done. Like, it's pretty much almost finished, I think.
It looks amazing. It
does look amazing.
It's that one scene where you have the Idris underneath of it, or right beside it and stuff like that. Like, just seeing the size difference. And they even mentioned that it has become larger than was originally planned, like a lot of the ships that the UK deal with. I'm not sure how much larger it is. They didn't really go into that. It was just sort of an offhand comment that he made. That is like, yeah, it got a little bit bigger. It still is primarily what would you class this as? Like a destroyer?
It is a destroyer. The Javelin is a destroyer. And you can see that as well, not just because of the way it is, but also it is just plastered with gun turrets. It doesn't really have much of a hangar bay. It has one medium-sized hangar bay that can fit a Vanguard. Mm-hmm. And it's cool the way the Vanguard comes out.
Yeah, like the platform's on the top, and then it goes in. They said it drops down, and then the roof closes over top of it. It is very, very cool.
And it's got a basketball ring. I mean,
well, the basketball room is the hangar.
Is it a hangar? I thought it was the cargo bay.
Okay. You know what? It might be the cargo bay. You might be right.
I don't know, to be honest. I can't really work it out where it is.
They're showing it right now, and I can't. I think you're right. I think it's the hangar bay. Speaking of the turrets, like you just said, they said, and I quote this: "The Javelin is caked with turrets," and they also have that cool. I think there's two of them on the back. The slidey ones. The slidey. I like how we're both like doing these sweet hand motions. Those turrets on the back. Now, originally, this ship was allowed to be purchased by backers. What was the price of it? You remember?
$2,500.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember.
It's not a cheap one. This one.
Not a cheap one.
And they said that it would be coming with basically nothing. Do you think that's changed?
That might have changed slightly. So I think it's going to have a very basic loadout. So we're not going to see many modules aboard, but it's going to be a fully functional ship. It's not going to be like, there you are, now you've got a tow at home. Yeah. It's going to be a fully functional ship. Like we might not see many gun turrets on it. We might see like just a couple of gun turrets of like a cheapy manufacturer. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely going to be functional. It's definitely going to be able to move and stuff. Not really totally bad, like you suggested.
When they first sort of pitched it to the backers, and like I said, things change all the time and whatever, and that's fine. I'm not like, oh, these people don't deserve these, whatever. Who cares? But it's just interesting that they, like, the way I pictured it in my mind, it was basically, like you said, it was just this floating hull that came with nothing. and you did have to tow it home. It's like, or you did have to sort of build it up first on a space station.
Derelict javelin in 3.0 BritizenCon demo. That's what you've bought, mate.
Yeah, there you go. You gotta, you have to dig it out of the sand. You gotta fight some worms for it.
Yeah.
You gotta find out, figure out some sort of technology to get it off the planet's surface.
You paid $2,500 to a fucking sandworm, mate. Good luck. Good luck. Get home. Oh, no, mate.
Yeah. So the other thing too is the 3 main floors for the interior. Now, knowing that things like the Starfarer have 4 floors, I kind of expect, with the size of how large the ship is, I did expect it to be a little bit more. Now, there are some other floors. It's just the 3 main floors that make up the majority of the ship. I expected it to be a little bit taller than that.
I don't know. I mean, it's quite a long ship. It's got 3 main decks, and then it's got lots of other sprawling bits all over it. But it's a destroyer. I mean, these ships aren't supposed to be that massive. It's a destroyer-sized ship isn't supposed to be that huge. I mean, it is in this case just because of the scale of Star Citizen. But they're not supposed to be giant ship. It's a destroyer.
They also talked about how if a section of one of those floors goes down, right, or a section of the ship goes down, it's gonna go into a lockdown mode where you can't leave or enter that area until it's been fixed by engineering, which I think gives a whole new reason for that gameplay. But
Geordie LaForge rolling under engineering stuff.
going through, like, you know how the Starfarer has those little the ducting and everything. Do you think that there'll be like a ducting work that you'll have to crawl through and go and repair some things? Bzz, bzz, your little.
It's not going to be like that though, because what's going to happen is I'll be playing with you and Twerk, yeah, and I'll get locked off in a section of the ship, and I'll die because you two will just be laughing that I'm locked into a section of the ship. And that's all that will get done. It'll be just
oxygen will run out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're locked in the bathroom, are you?
There's a huge breach in the side of the hull in that section. The doors have been locked down, so not to vacuum out the rest of the ship. You're just out there laughing and floating.
I think for a lot of situations that it's just going to be too funny to help your mates. Like. I'm sorry, it's true. You'd be like, oh, well, good job. Good job.
Another big thing, and this I saw sort of created some controversy with some things, not with this ship in particular, but actually with other ships, which is kind of funny. They removed the crossbar from the original build of this. So on it, where the bridge is, there was a crossbar that went across, and they're like, okay, well, that's kind of in the way of some of the visual stuff. Now, if you look at a lot of the other ships, things like the Constellations, things like the Auroras, and things like that, they have the Drake ships. They have some of those crossbars in the way, and people are saying, "Oh, sorry. Hey, why is this removed on this ship but not on?"
I'm sorry to anyone that is genuinely offended by this, but how much free time in your day do you have to be annoyed by the removal of that crossbar?
Okay. Well, I don't think so much. I don't think it's so much that they're annoyed that it's removed. I think everybody's happy that it's removed on that ship. I think they're annoyed that it's existing on the other ships. I think is sort of where they're coming from.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Like, okay. I think people will be like, well, it should be there for structural integrity.
It's like, oh, it should be there because I have one of my Aurora.
Look at a different part of the ship, okay? There you go.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on that, and what do you take away from that? Do you think that CIG should go back and modify those other ships where there is a crossbar, like, right in the middle of your field of view?
I could only care more. I mean, I give no damns about the crossbar. Notice that I didn't say I couldn't care less, because that statement is totally incorrect for someone to say. But no, I just don't care about the crossbar.
Fair. BoredGamer doesn't care about anybody's feelings. I don't care either. I can have myself to that.
It's cool. I don't care either.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't really bother me. I know on the original Cutlass Blue, there's like a weird bar thing, but that's getting reworked. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, remember? And it's like right there. But that ship's getting entirely reworked, so I'll hold judgment until that comes out. And I'm trying to think of like I've flown people's Andromedas, and I've flown the Aurora and all of the other ships, and I don't think it's that intrusive, to be honest. It's not like
do you fly by visuals or do you fly by HUD markers? Because when I fly combat, I could literally have a black screen and just fly by the
I used
ships
to.
marked
I used to a lot. I used to fly by just HUD markers. My problem is when I do just that, I don't pay attention to the asteroids and the objects around me.
yeah, okay.
So it's kind of a mix of the both, but definitely I would say primarily HUD markers for sure. That's why, yeah, if you have someone off to your right or left or just out of your screen, I'm following those markers definitely, and that's my primary focus. So yeah, like the bar, it doesn't affect me as much, but it would be nice to see out the front window.
The thing is,
and the design would make more sense.
If you're in that ship in reality, the way you'd focus on stuff means you would kind of forget about the bar. You wouldn't notice it. But because it's on your screen and you're focusing at your screen, you notice it. Like it's
do you think that in VR it would be less noticeable then?
I do think it will be less noticeable in VR, yes.
Because you can sort of look around and
you can focus on whatever you want in a way that you're not focusing on your monitor.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Whenever VR implementation does come in, remind me about that, or I'll try to remind myself. I feel that's still a far ways away, but and see if that's something like if
I think we'll get it to a lesser extent with Track IR as well, maybe just a little bit lesser.
Right.
You'll be staring at your monitor, which is 2D. But yeah, okay, we'll test that when we can.
And with the Javelin, they said they wanted to bring in as much natural light as possible from the different stars and different environments and things like that. So they've started to add more windows than they initially planned. Now, when they first talked about multi-crew ships and the idea of people running around in their spaceships and people flying outside and being able to see inside and see outside and all of that other stuff, for me, that's something that's really, really exciting. But then I go back and say, should other ships get that same treatment as well, right? When you have ships like the Constellation, where most of the ship in the back doesn't have any windows. There's places where they could put windows along the sides or whatever to bring more of that natural light in.
I don't think they should. I think that maybe if it's a thing that particular manufacturer does, maybe. But I think that some ships can have quirks that make them ineffective or have problems, and the same with FPS weapons and stuff like that. You know, there's that Castec Arms. There's like the little power packs in front of its gun port, the ejection port.
Yeah.
I think that's a good quirk to have. It's poorly designed by the manufacturer, and I think that you should have these on some of the ships. You go, well, no, let's not redesign them. Let's not change this. Let's just say, well, Jeremy Clarkson was talking about this ship. He'd say that there's poor light in the back.
Yeah, so you think that maybe, and you could also look at what the ship's intention is as well. So maybe something like an industrial ship, it doesn't need it as much. Whereas you have something like the 890 Jump, you would probably expect quite a bit more windows on that. And even in the concept work, you see all kinds of windows and stuff on that ship as well.
I kind of want some of the ships to not receive any form of extra reworks in that sense. Obviously,
like existing ships.
And some of the other concept ships that they've kind of already white boxed and grey boxed. Like some of them, obviously they wanted to update materials and they want to update certain pieces, and then anytime there's a major game update, they want to give them a pass, a polish pass and stuff like that, or lighting updates or whatever. That's fine. But I don't want stuff like extra windows to be added and that sort of thing, because if you think about it, they wouldn't do that in real life. Like,
Right.
they might look at it. They might do a version 2 of that with like extra windows. Like, oh, let's release a special edition of this car with an extra window or whatever. But I like the quirks of stuff that's done incorrectly as much as I like stuff that's done perfectly.
Right. No, I definitely hear what you're saying on that, and I agree with you on that. It was just something I thought was interesting, that it was something about their design, and then they went back because they're like, oh, you know what? It'd be cool to add more of this to design. And talking about design, they said with large ships like this, writers are actually more involved with the design. So with something like a single-seater ship, or even some of the smaller multi-crew ships like the Constellation or whatever, writers don't need to be as in the design of the ship as much as the Javelin or the Idris or these larger ships, because of their functions in both Star Citizen and Squadron 42. That was just something that they talked about. They said that the designers, then it goes to the people who white boxed it out, and then it goes to the writers, and then it could potentially come back and go through those steps again. Just to, so many people are in with the development of these large ships, more so than they are with the smaller ships, which I found really, really interesting. And yeah, with that, this is gonna have obviously an integral role in Squadron 42. Which I don't think they initially planned for. I think it was like the Idris was the big.
It was the Idris and the Bengal, I think. That's what.
Yeah, the Idris and the Bengal was the initial ones, but now the Javelin as well, and they're gonna have lots of cutscenes and all of that other stuff with the ship as well.
Interactive cutscenes. I'm not sure. I'm not.
Well,
sure
all the cutscenes are interactive.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you'll be able to run. I like how you just, like, go off into, like, imagination land. I can tell when you look up. Yeah. Just like that. If I could just superimpose a thought bubble above your head and have you running around poking things while a cutscene's going on and running around. Yeah, I can play basketball if I'd like. And this is totally inappropriate while I'm being briefed. But I'm going to play some basketball and not pay attention to you.
God. Screw you, Chris Roberts. Screw your game story. I'm playing basketball.
So that brings, that was just the ATV. That was all of that stuff we just talked about for an hour was what they showed in 26 minutes. It was a very, very jam-packed of all kinds of new information. It was really awesome. That being said, they also released that next day 3.0. Or sorry, not the patch. Whoa, right? What was that? Race car.
It was motorbikes by my house.
Not 3.0, but the 3.0 schedule report. And there were a lot of little surprises with this that we're going to go through. Now, before we jump into this, I want to, number one, let everybody know if you have any questions for either myself or BoredGamer about ATV, our opinions on anything in the schedule report, anything to do with our channels, anything like that, type in ! question in chat and fill out that document. And yeah, so I'm going to pull up the schedule report here. If you guys would like to follow along, I'm going to have it on the video screen, but you can also type ! ETA in my chat to get the schedule report up on your screen. Now, this has all of the normal caveats that all the other schedule reports do, where, you know, it's not finalized, it doesn't include everything, technology shared between the games, it doesn't necessarily reflect the Squadron 42 schedule, things like that. That's all of that stuff has been in the previous schedule reports. The first thing that we see on here is they had a 20-minute video on a schedule pipeline, and we were joking around about this that instead of them giving us the schedule, they were going to give us a pipeline of the pipelines or a pipeline of the schedule or something first. And I thought it was hilarious that they had a pipeline for the schedule and they included that in there. But it was really cool to see how everything sort of like how it all comes together.
It was actually quite well explained.
It was, yeah, it was very well explained. And if you haven't watched that, definitely check that out. That is in the schedule report. right at the top. I have hiccups, I think. Okay.
Yes, you do.
He's
too excited. He's too excited.
I'm so excited about this.
3.0, mate. Fucking 3.0.
3.0 Barbie patch.
Well, Barbie patch light. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Right. Well,
Release
any
dates?
customizations. Well, before we got into the release dates, I wanted to talk about stuff they already had complete. Right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna skip. I'm not gonna go over every little thing because we'll be here for another 6 hours. But Mega Map's already done for the Persistent Universe. That's really awesome and actually quite a big thing. This is gonna mean that just like the single player or jumping in from Arena Commander to Star Marine, we're just gonna have essentially that black screen for a couple seconds, and then it's gonna stream everything in, and you're gonna be able to do that. So that, I imagine this would mean that we would start to see the same FPS across all things. Do you think? Once the when the Mega Map is in, because it's all essentially the same place, with the exception of if your stuff's being bogged down by like graphical assets.
In 3.0, we're just getting object containers. We're not getting object container streaming. Okay. So literally, they've remade the Persistent Universe, and everything is defined as object containers now. But the streaming is not finished. So we're not going to get the full streaming until 3.2.
Okay.
A little bit more in 3.1.
Okay, I was unaware of that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not particularly well explained. All it says in the design area there is that Crusaders converted into object containers, but they specifically don't mention the object containers.
It just says it's in preparation for container streaming. But yeah, you could read that different ways. But now that you've mentioned that, okay. And then
it's an important step, though. It's a massive step.
Yeah, it's huge. And then also they've revamped your power plant shield generators, coolers, heat and power systems, all the pipes for in your ship to convert to item 2.0, which is also going to have a larger impact, right? Right now, when your ship takes damage to things, I don't think it affects those different things as much, right?
Yeah, this is going to give actual functionality, and kind of they are really going to interact with each other. If you take a hit to your cooler, it's going to be less effective at taking power from the heat from the coolers to shields to whatever, and there's going to be individual pipes which can be damaged. I mean, it's the item 2.0 conversion stuff allows them to do a lot of stuff with those entities. It's kind of important for any form of customization they do. I'm not sure how it's going to work with some items being part of item 2.0, and then are they just going to have some sort of like placeholder stats for other stuff? Can't work it out in my head, but
yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to do that. In their environment stuff, the modular room system for procedural generation of planetary outposts. So them being able to procedurally generate the rooms for the outposts is done. And this integrates it into the planet editor. It'll be able to do missions. It'll be able to do single outposts, clusters of outposts, all kinds of cool stuff, which is awesome that we're going to have these procedural things. It's going to give a lot more for the exploration. And I know a lot of people are really, really excited for exploration in general. And so even if you wanted to just spend your time going to try and find all of the different locations for the outposts, that could be something you could go and do, and it gives more of that going out and finding them or whatever. Let's see what else we have in here that's already done. Some big things like texture memory usage reduced, unified material libraries, which is important, so you're not getting duplicates of things, basically reducing the file size of a lot of stuff. Improved LOD computation. There was something they talked about that they had reduced by 50%.
If you go to, at the top of the document, it's the render target refactor saves over 50% video memory,
which is huge. It's huge.
I mean, a lot of this stuff is also that it's ease of access to multiple systems, and they can have maximum fidelity at high frame rates. So the game should be really, really optimized once it's done. In these stages where they're testing it, a lot of this stuff will require refinement. But it's good on paper. It's good on paper.
They have some new armor assets. The heavy marine armor and the explorer suit are both done.
The marine armor looks so cool. Actually, the heavy outlaw armor looks
yeah, so that was the thing, is we have the heavy marine armor in already.
It's a new one, I think.
Do you have an image of what the new one looks like? Like a concept of it or anything?
Did they show it at the same time as the female out armor? I very remember seeing some the marine female armor and some the marine armor.
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if this was a mistype.
Collar.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was the one that we had in there already.
Maybe we do. I don't know.
So
I don't know what this means.
I don't know if this is the heavy marine armor or if this is the heavy outlaw armor. That could have been a mistype. I'm not sure. Because they did some other mistypes earlier as well, like they called the Drake Cutlass Red and the Cutlass Blue Misk.
Oh
no! And people were like, "What is going on?" And it's like, "No, I'll just ask Matt," and it was just a mistype. So that could be that.
It's possible that the modules were supposed to be made by Misk. That happens in ships, but no.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But no, that's not what it is at all. All the facial assets are finalized from 3 Lateral. So those are all in there, and that's going to be used for the different blending and everything of the faces.
Do you think we're going to see the female model in 3.0 just with masculine animations?
I don't think that. I think that if they wanted to do that, that would have been in already.
Okay.
I think they would have put in, like, because they have some female heads done, right? That we've seen them use in some of their stuff. And they, like, just like we only have the one head, I assume they would have just put in the one female head, put it in
just in the 3.1 patch, it specifically states that the female locomotion set is in.
Right, the animation set.
Yeah.
Right. So that may, and they don't really go into detail about when the females come in. And that was something that a lot of people were like, how can we be at 3.2 and we still don't have females in? I know a lot of people are really looking forward to that being implemented in the game. What else we have under the code? There's all kinds of stuff. Destructible components for items, props, and environment assets.
How about
is something that's pretty cool.
Functionality?
Yeah, right at the top. This is the initial release of the foundation technology that drives all of the AI, missions, dynamic content, and conversational logic. So it's previously created with Flowgraph and has been replaced with the implementation. Time to achieve a desired effect has been cut dramatically. So they're going to be able to put in more AI and the content and missions and stuff like that quicker.
Yeah, but this sort of stuff drives the economy for me. It's part of the dynamic missions. It's all part of that. And so for me, that's directly connected to economy and directly connected to hooks to playing. Having this subsumption system in and working right, so my missions are a little bit different every time I play them. So I can play 30 escort missions in a day and feel like
they're all different.
The same one. Yes. Oh my god, that would be so cool. They're all different. I'm just so excited for subsumption, even if it is just the really early iteration of it.
There's some other minor things in here as well, like the unified visor for seamless ship 2.0 and FPS transitions. And that's not something I've really noticed before.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not something like going in between from FPS and getting in your ship. It just sort of switches, I guess. So I'll be interested to see that.
Another major thing that I noticed in the thing that's already done is the nested physics grids.
Yes.
Where ships and ships, basically.
Ships and ships and ships on planets.
Yes.
And with different gravity and stuff like that. Well, I mean, it's something they need to have in, right? And they've talked about. Yeah, so that's in there. So do you think that means that we're going to be getting detachable Merlins and things?
They haven't mentioned it across the reports. I couldn't
No.
see. Oh, maybe they didn't mention ship landings. I just didn't notice it.
Or
I've seen it
detachable part of Caterpillar. You know how the part can come off?
I saw ship landings on one of the screens of where they talk about the Xi'an Nox and the Saber Raven.
Okay.
I will look at that later. I will find that later. They are. It is on the schedule. Ship docking, and I think that is also part of the system by which Merlins and stuff will dock. So hopefully that will be in by 3.2.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Physics simulation gravity vector. I'm from the future. Now respects planetary gravity. Now, do you think that has anything to do with the gravity generators and things like that that'll be in both space stations and ships, or have any sort of effect on that? And same with those nested.
I just thought it was going to be once you enter a planet's atmosphere that was referred to. That you now
right, but it sounds like that's unified. It's unified across the board. Yeah. So does that mean that you're going to be able to turn on and off gravity? I wasn't sure because once again that was something that they didn't really talk about. And like we said, not everything is included on this. So yeah, I'm not sure. So it would be cool to see, for example, we see the Starfarer. It has it in there right now. It's just not active. Is the gravity generator, right? The animation isn't working for it or anything right now. You can't turn it on or off.
I thought that was referring to like ships flying in atmosphere and like pilots getting killed out of ships like that and falling to the floor rather than being rolling up into
space
atmosphere or floating. Yeah. Like I thought it was literally saying planets now have gravity that the game goes, I understand that this is gravity.
Yeah. For the entirety of the sphere that is a planet. Because it's not the same as having like a flat panel having gravity because it's a whole sphere that on the other side it all has to attract you to the center of the planet.
Interesting orbiting a planet as a well, not necessarily as a dead person either, just as someone waiting to get picked up. Orbiting. Like,
just this is bored again, floating in space, just
people
spinning.
trying to pick me up starting.
Yeah,
this is my life now.
Yeah, would be interesting, but there's all kinds of other stuff as well that's already in. Now that all of that stuff that we just talked about is already in and ready to go. The planetary update. Now, a lot of people were upset about this and are calling this rename of 2.7 because of this. Because we are just getting Yella, Selen, Daymar, and possibly Delamar. What I thought was cool was how the moons do have their own little things. Like one is known for its crevices. Underwater caves on Yella. Number one, underwater. Number two, caves. I didn't know they were going to be able to do.
Drowning is one of the things that's going to be in 3.1 or 3.2.
Mm-hmm.
So it does sound to me like those underwater caves will be explorable.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't see why they would put hidden underwater caves if you weren't able to explore them at some point.
But that's going to be such a place for pirates to hide, isn't it? There are going to be so many missions where it's like, there's a pirate stash here. Or go clear out these pirates that are hiding under the ground.
My question to you is, do you think that those caves are placed there by hand, or do you think those caves are going to be able to be procedurally generated?
Mixture of the two, probably. I don't know how the procedural generation works out when it carves stuff out of geometry, but they can do it because it's Star Citizen. But everything like that everything like that I think that has a possibility of having missions generated in it probably has an artist at least look at it.
That my extrapolation from that would be, do you think that we could get something that has the properties of like a sponge planet that has just like tunnels, you know what I mean? Like not like squeezy like that, but just like just tunnels through the whole thing from some sort of maybe The lore behind that could be it's been mined for all of its resources.
I actually think Delamar's going to be like that. I think Delamar will be, after you go through the hero landing zone, at the back of it will just be caves of mines,
and you could go in there and get lost, or
I think they will be.
Do whatever. That would be amazing. Yeah. All those criminal scum hanging out in the caves.
Crims.
It'll be like the what is it in Paris, right? They have the catacombs where you can get lost in.
Are there pirates down there? I didn't know.
I know there's like dead people down there, right? That's where they had all their crypts and everything.
Fuck.
Well, no, but that, like back in the day, way back.
Take your phone out with you. Maybe your phone doesn't work down there. Oh my god, I'm not going to.
Yeah, maybe your movie. Yeah, I don't think it works down there. Because that's like a real thing. But yeah, or like giant space worms, like Inner Hype said in chat. Like having these tunnel systems, I don't know. It adds so much more to that exploration of not only space or the planet's surface, but the inside of some of these planets as well. And if they're able to procedurally generate a lot of that stuff, I think that could be pretty cool. And you could have some hidden alien outposts, or when eventually we're able, because this has been confirmed by Aaron Roberts, when we're able to build our own stuff, you could make it hidden in one of these places that only you know how to get there. Maybe somebody could accidentally stumble by it, but
one day we'll have cool bases and stuff on these.
Cool bases, and Bored can be like, why do I need to play Rust? I'm just gonna go play Rust, the Rust module in Star Citizen.
But it's gonna harvest some fucking wood in Star Citizen, mate.
Yeah. He actually makes the tunnels himself. He's hacking all the stone and getting all the. Oh my god!
Yeah, just wearing a miner's hat. You have no idea, because I'm quite I get quite anxious sometimes. Those kind of games where I can just mine or resource gather, so relaxing. Like I'm being productive. So it's like.
And then Selen says that there's going to be highly corrosive gas coming from the surface because of the geysers or the volcanoes or whatever. And it says that specifically that it's going to create low visibility and damaging anything caught outside. Do you think that this is going to damage ships or your suit, like as a over time thing?
No. So possibly there might be environmental hazards which slowly damage your stuff. And they've talked about that before. I didn't realize they'd implement it so early.
Yeah.
That is there. Those geysers will certainly destroy your ship or vehicle if you're parked over them.
Oh yeah, you can't park on top of a volcano and hope that nothing happings.
Yes.
That's like parking under one of those beams, in Arena Commander.
I do like the idea of seeing how high you can get dragonflies. You can all choose a geyser. And then
and wait for the...
I win.
They could create, if they wanted to go through and hand place some stuff, if there was a race on that moon, and they could make it so some of those geysers, if you catch it at the right time, could lift you and take you on a shortcut so you don't have to go through a canyon or something.
It's not Mario Kart.
It could be Mario Kart. Don't let my dreams be dreams. All right? I want to be able to shell people.
Oh my god!
And get a star.
This is CIG. Make the game a bit more colourful and get a cloud with a fishing line on it.
It's essentially essentially just Rainbow Road. All right.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're
so
right.
if they just make us, you know.
I think a lot of people come to this podcast for your insight like that. So that's sort of insightfulness that people want.
That's my only value I bring to this podcast. And then Daymar is going to be both. So
I love the look of Daymar. That's the planet I will be on the most.
I think so as well. I like the idea of like the fog, and I also like the idea of lightning storms and having storms roaming across the planet. I think that's going to be amazing. Don't get struck by lightning. I'm pretty sure that's good. Like, I've been playing a lot of Battlegrounds lately, and they have like storms in the game, and there's lightning. But
you get struck by lightning?
No, I don't think you can.
That'd be a hilarious way to die.
But I think you're going to be able to in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Definitely.
just going on the level of detail they do everything. They haven't confirmed or denied this. This is just me making things up in my brain. But I wouldn't see. I mean, if they're hurting you with the volcanoes and stuff, I don't see why they'd be not hurting you with the lightning flashes as well. So watch out for the lightning. Remaining aims for 3.0. What are the big things?
Let's talk very quickly about the hero location Levski. So Levski is a stretch goal for 3.0.
Okay.
And would be the only hero landing zone that we had if it makes it into 3.0. So I mean, I think it's so essential to get it in.
Yeah, I think it's important to get it in to see how those hero zones work and how exploring around those zones work. Because that's something that that myself and Twerk have gotten in arguments over on how that's going to work. But also, backing up even a little bit before that, something that's not really clear to me, and it hasn't been super clarified, is what the stretch goal title means. And there's a couple things in this list that have the stretch goal in parentheses. Now, does that mean that we weren't planning on getting it in this patch, but we're going to try and get it in this patch? Does that mean
they want it in aspirationally? What it actually means?
Right. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, there was something else I was thinking of too, but I forget what it is because my brain's not working right. I mean, is it ever? But you're not supposed to laugh at that.
There's the Moby-Glass, the hero landing zone, and one of the networking things. All stretch goals for 3.0, I think. That's how I
scrolling through. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to scroll through with this.
Yeah, the network bind unbind.
Right, which was another, which is also very big.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the ultimate form of culling shit that they don't need.
Yeah, like if you don't see it, you don't need that information.
Yeah, boom.
Period.
And that's gonna help. That's gonna help.
That's gonna help a lot with frame rates. Yeah, and the issues that we're experiencing with. So it will be nice. Stretch goal in terms, and this is from Proxys 571, who is a now CIG employee. Stretch goal in terms of the schedule means it won't hold up deployment of the patch if it's not ready. So that's all it means.
That's what I said, Proxys, you lime cat freak. Oh, lime cat. I'm not subscribed to your channel. I'm going to do that now. So I can post Proxys' face.
There you go. Oh, why, thank you, sir.
All right, mate.
Yeah, so moving on to 3.0 release stuff. Before we go into a lot of the different stuff and pick the big things out of it, what is the biggest thing in 3.0 now that we have this stuff? That if you had to pick one of these things, what is the thing you're looking forward to most?
Oh,
I know it's a tough question. There's so much. There's so much.
Can we exclude moonary landings?
Yeah, we can exclude landing on the moon or the planets.
Okay. Oh.
For the record, I don't have my answer yet. I'm looking right now too, so don't feel bad that you don't know right away.
There are too many things, but I suppose the expanded mission system, subsumption with the mission system stuff. I need hooks to play, I need reasons to play, and I need reasons not to be bored.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many.
I know. I'm looking at it like I'm gonna pick this one and this one and this one. My answer is 3.0.
Yeah, trick question.
Gotcha. No, I mean I'm looking at things that, in terms of modifications to what we already have now, the stamina system is going to be fantastic. You know, that's something I think is needed for the FPS for sure. But I think, but I'm not going to pick. I'm not going to. That's not my overall. That's like a modification to what we have. My thing is going to be the surface outposts, I think. because you have all of these different buildings that are going to be a little bit different, each different one, and there's going to be so much more of those locations to go and check out. Right now we have all the comrades, which are all the same. You've been to one, you've been to all of them. ICC, which you can just fly around, is boring. You have the 2 landing zones, right? If Levski makes it in, Levski will be awesome. But you have Grimhex and Port Olisar. Outside of that, you only have the 2 satellites that you can go in that are any different from anything else, and that's Kovalex and Korea.
For me, other than missions, character customization.
Character customization is...
I mean, we're going to see some proper freaks in the verse.
You think so?
Comes in. Oh yeah, they're good. Players like really want to make the freakiest looking characters.
You're going to see like eyes really far apart or really close together.
I'm going to try and make mine look like an egg as much as possible. The first one.
Well, you know that it's just the blending, so it's going to be tough to...
I'm sure they've got some people that look a bit like an egg. They've made cats. Just a little bit like an egg. They know. Like, this guy looks a bit like an egg.
So you think there's going to be people in the game that have more egg-like qualities than you for you to merge into?
Probably not more egg-like qualities than me, but I'm sure there's someone with a strong, powerful egg-like jaw and one that's head tapers off to a tip, so I can merge the 2 together and make the true egg.
The one true egg.
People will just go, "Oh, that's BoredGamer." I don't even need to have any facial details on my face at all. It could literally just be blank.
It would be actually. Like, I feel like it would be better if you had no facial details and it was just flat.
Yeah, just a crack for a mouth.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, let's go through these, and for anything that sort of could be confusing to people, if we
like this podcast,
if we're able to clear any of that up or anything, that would be awesome. Mission givers, they're going to be introducing Miles Eckhart and Rudo, and a lot of people have been asking me, who's Rudo? Rudo was the guy that we were talking to, I believe, or that you saw that people were talking to in the Levski landing thing. I believe that's Rudo.
Okay.
We also, before I go into this as well, the Evocati is scheduled for June 5th, which is a month away, right? A month and a bit.
Loosely targeted schedule.
Yeah. This is schedule. It's scheduled from June 5th to June 12th is sort of where they foresee it happening. Yeah, so that it's actually pretty close. We have only a few podcasts in between now and then, before it goes into Evocati, and then it's scheduled for the PTU. They're hoping to get it in by June 19th. I feel like 3.0 is going to be in Evocati and PTU a lot longer than they're scheduling it for, just because of the amount of content that's coming in. Not only from a visual standpoint, but from a back end.
It's a whole new game.
With all the item point, the subsumption, the new network stuff, everything coming in together. There's so much that's going to need to be tested and need to be ironed out that I think that it's going to be in Evocati and PTU much longer. That being said, they are aiming for it to go live by the end of, what is that, the end of June?
End of June, so June the 29th is the target live date.
Yeah.
Again, very loosely targeted.
Yeah.
We can always hope.
And if you're curious to see how they're progressing on the schedule, this does get released every Friday. They'll be updating this with whatever. So if those dates move, as you see these different colored bars on their progress on things, if they finish it early, sometimes they finish some things early, some things late, some things on time. But 3.0 is broken down into a couple different sections: the persistent universe content, the core tech, the UI, the AI, graphics, backend, and network, ships and weapons. Okay, and that's it. So let's start. Where do you want to start, Bard? What's the most interesting out of those things that you want to talk about?
Oh, we're doing it in sections like that.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, that's not how my brain works. Okay.
Or do you want to just do it in order that we see it?
Let's do it in the order that we see it.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Well,
we have to try and discuss for 10 minutes. How are we going to do it?
Right. So, alright. So, persistent universe content. Obviously, you're getting the moons, the different outposts, derelict ships. Do you think we're gonna see? Is this where we're gonna see the javelin?
Yes.
Do you think?
Almost certain of it.
Do you also think that these derelict ships are gonna be in space or on planet side?
Both.
Or moon side? Moon side.
Yeah, sorry, moonery side. Yeah, I think it's going to be both, and I think that we're going to see a lot of derelicts and a lot of different things that they're able to do now, because they might as well put it in.
Now, this one kind of confused me where it said debris fields, because we kind of have that, right? Like when you go to Yella and you have the two starfarers that crashed into each other or whatever happened there, there's debris floating around. What do you think they mean by these debris fields within the system?
So I literally think it's going to be debris fields that are semi-procedurally generated based on the derelict ship. So it will be specific scrap and materials from that derelict ship and from whatever the system decides was there at the same time. So you might see Vandal that have fought a javelin. So you'll see just parts of a javelin and Vandal destroyed ships floating around it. That's what I think they mean by debris.
Do we not see that already with, you know how you do the missions from the ICC probe?
That they're hand placed. I think debris fields in this situation would be procedurally generated
with the derelict ships. So do you think the derelict ships are going to be procedurally generated then?
Or at least procedurally distributed. Maybe not generated.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Yeah. And one more thing for the debris fields. Do you think that these could be things that are static in place like they are now? Right? Like if you bump into something, that's it? Or do you think that these things are going to be, you bump into them and that inertia will carry off into those items?
I don't know. There's one other thing. There was two things I didn't know about the derelict ships and debris fields. Like in this stage, are they going to spawn in and out? And is the materials there going to be like asteroids should be like in the future, where they do move? I don't know. What if they do?
It would be cool if they do. Like yeah, if there's going to be, like we know with the asteroids, they want to have the rotation and orbiting mechanics. And that sort of extends into that, where they have a rotation.
I think without deeper persistence, which we'll be getting as the patches go forward, better and better persistence, more and more things will persist. I think that they're going to have to spawn and despawn, and maybe they will move though. Maybe you will be able to transfer inertia over to objects and shoot them and move them, but they just despawn.
Like just stack up your Hull C or your Caterpillar or whatever with just debris. Just fill it with just to the brim with debris in your ship, and then haul that around to places and be like, I'm the junk rat.
Oh no, a pirate's gonna rob me. Have all the debris, mother trucker.
Yeah. Instead of having to use like a chaff flare, you just dump all your debris out.
Oh, that would be amazing. I wonder if you can kill ships by literally just opening your bay doors and a starfarer, just fling all your debris out. That'd be cool.
Oh, amazing. And then yeah, we talked about Delamar Levski. I have a feeling Levski has probably changed in between the last time we saw it and now. I remember it vaguely. I remember the elevator, right? The hull, the freelancer outside, and the elevator, and the statue of the person holding the boy,
and all the shops,
and just how it looked. I'm really interested to see what it looks like now, and especially with all the lighting improvements and everything they've made since then. It'll be really cool. Moving on to the gameplay portion of the game, player man turrets. This is huge, because even though we have player man turrets in now, they don't work very well.
Indeed.
But oh, go ahead.
They're also getting some AI-based turret systems in place as well. So it's player and NPC.
Yeah, I think they talk about the AI
basically.
stuff down below a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's all part and parcel of the same system, though.
Right.
Would be my expectation. No, don't know how NPCs work differently to players.
My question to you is, do you think this is just for ships, or do you think we're going to start to see planet-side / space station turrets?
I don't think we'll start to see space station turrets yet, but I do think we will start to see them probably early next year.
What about on outposts?
I'd like to see them, but I don't think we will.
Okay.
I think it might be too hard for them to do. Well, it's not too hard for them to do. I think it just takes time for them to do. And they've probably got a whole system they want for defensive structures and for static pieces. But maybe. I might be surprised.
Yep. The pick up and carry they showed in the ATV. It was really cool to see that. Being able to place things or throw them based on how far away it is. Item 2.0. This is
Before that, I mean, we talked about pick up and carry. This is essential for you doing certain levels of piracy.
Being able to take people's cargo.
Yeah, you're going to blow up their ship and you're going to go, ooh, it's a cargo. It's a cargo.
Let's, they say, to mainly interact with cargo, load, and unload properly on ships. Do you think that this could carry over into inanimate objects or animate objects? So right now, we saw things with like helmets and stuff like that. Do you think that you'll be able to do this with a downed player, like a dead person, or with maybe not initially, but something like knock them out and then you pick them up and drag them and place them?
Yes, I do, and I think we'll talk about that in a minute in 3.1 and 3.2.
Okay.
I don't think it will be in 3.0.
Gotcha. Item 2.0 ship conversions, and item 2.0 is the big thing. This is going to bring in operator seats that actually work. You see these in the one that comes immediately to mind is the Herald, right? You have that seat there at the computer station. Radar systems, so more than just what you see in the single-seater ships. Light control system, and we were talking about this earlier. Whether you're, I wonder how controllable this is going to be. Right? If for those of you that don't know, my whole house is lit up with Philips Hue light bulbs. And with those light bulbs, I can make them flash. So every time I get a tweet that's like someone tags me, my whole house like blinks twice. So I know that I have a tweet and I can go and respond to it or whatever. I can change the colors of all those lights and all of that other stuff. Do you think that the light control system is going to have that deep of functions? Or do you think it's going to be just a basic on-off?
So I think it will have some slightly more complex functions eventually. Something to remember for item system 2.0 is that the refactor to item system 2.0 just means that all of these components can communicate with each other and can feed from each other. So for an example, from the light control system, the refactor to 2.0 means that it can receive power from a power plant, and that if that power plant goes off, the lights would go off. It can also receive signals from the control desks telling that certain areas of the ship should go on and off for lighting.
Right.
And that's what item system 2.0 means. It allows all these items to communicate with each other, but also they have kind of unified stats and things that they can all be changed and some unique things. So like, it's not like a...
Okay, so for an example, a gameplay idea for me, and especially in a larger multi-crew ship, let's say like a Javelin or a larger hull series ship. If you're able to change, even if you're only able to change the colors in between white and red, right? Being able to do that to say, I need everybody to go to the red portion of the ship, that's where it is. And then they're able to sort of see that visually as well in the game. So you can toggle that light to that color or whatever.
That'd be cool, having little lights that you can make people follow on the ground.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. Okay, yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I hope it has some cool functionality.
Fuel refuel is in. This is already feature complete. Something they talk about later on, and I think was in 3.1, was ship-to-ship refuel, which means Starfarer. So the
actually has a use.
Yeah. Finally. And if it gets gravity generators, then that's it. That ship's done.
Yeah, in 3.2, but yeah. It gives the Starfarer use.
But I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that the fuel refuel is just sort of like a more feature complete mechanic that we have now. What do you think is going to be different from what we have now, landing on a land pad, as opposed to what they're going to be bringing in 3.0?
I don't understand what you mean. Sorry.
Okay, so
phrase the question.
Yes, when you land at the space station to repair and refuel.
Yeah.
What is the difference here? There, you feel it in your bones. What is the difference in between that and what they're going to have in 3.0? Because they don't really go into detail here. Or what could you imagine that would be the difference that they would need to put this in the patch notes?
What, the fuel and refuel?
Yes.
I just think that they're treating fuel and fueling as a part of the item 2.0 system, so that fuel will be fed to systems, will be read by systems. It will tell you how much fuel you've got accurately. It's its own item now, rather than as a fake stat.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's what I think it is.
You think it's just sort of brought into the item 2.0 kind of deal? Okay.
It's important that it's part of item 2.0 because it is its own separate entity, and things can happen to that fuel. You could have a fuel tank hit and leak fuel. You could. It shouldn't just exist as a number.
So are you saying that ships shouldn't explode now unless they're hit in the fuel?
I'm not sure if the fuel like that would be combustible in that way either. Like, I'm not sure what fuel you'll be using for ships, and I'm not sure if it would require some form of catalyst to ignite it anyway. Like, even if you got hit by a missile, I'm not sure if it would ignite your fuel, but it might.
Right, because right now something that we have is ships just blow up after they run out of health. Right, just overall health, the ship blows up. I'm hoping that that's not the final design. I'm hoping that the design is for it to blow up, you either need to self-destruct it or you need to do something like blow up its fuel tanks or whatever, instead of
I see what you mean.
Yeah, so you're able to disable an entire ship. It can't do anything, but it doesn't blow up and kill everything. You know what I mean? So the player can still escape and do its. There's more gameplay with that.
I think with item system 2.0, if you could ignite the fuel or people's ammunition, which you should be able to, I suppose, that would cause secondary explosions. Yeah. And I think that will be a thing, actually, in item 2.0.
And then that would blow up your ship, and then that would potentially kill you. But if somebody just shot your ship and they didn't do anything to your fuel stuff at all, your ship's just totally disabled, can't do anything, but just floating there in space.
We'll probably see that with gravity generators and power supplies, especially in large ships. Like, they might go critical in certain situations.
I could see gravity generators doing like an EMP or something.
We've got a gravity generator in 2.63 at the moment, haven't we? That goes out of control, shooting lightning everywhere.
That's in the derelict Starfarers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I can certainly see that happening, and it's probably a bit deeper than I even thought. So.
Yeah, no, just going along with that, and then talking about the power supply and pipes, same sort of thing, except for now you don't also have to hit those main components. There's those pipes that are specifically hooked up from the engine to the thrusters, to the fuel and stuff like that. Another big thing, insurance. So this is the first time we're going to see it, right? Like, we have a very, very basic implementation of this right now.
We don't really do it. It's just so faked.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just a super fake version of it. So this is, if your ship cannot be repaired, then you'll be able to request a replacement ship with a basic loadout from the insurance provider.
Or if it gets blown up, mate.
Yeah, I think that's beyond repair.
It is beyond repair, probably. Yeah. Can you repair this? What? There's no ship there. I know me. Blown up.
Stamina. Yeah, we'll be able to see how far we can run and if it feels real or not. You're able to run halfway down the hallway and you're like out of breath, can't go over anything.
I wouldn't be able to get over this step even if I was at full stamina IRL. Flop over.
But something that's cool with this is I think the different suits that you're wearing are going to have a strong effect on this, right? The heavy suit, running in that for an extended period of time, isn't going to be as easy as, say, like a flight suit, right? That has no armor. It's going to be a lot lighter. You're going to be able to move faster. And that's how I think they're going to start to balance those suits out with the stamina. It makes the most sense to me. They haven't really talked about that too much, but yeah. Doors and airlocks.
I actually think this is part of the room system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So rooms will be treated like actual rooms now with their oxygen and different supplies and stuff.
Well, this is more just the setup for that. So in this first early implementation, airlocks and doors will be aware of if a room beyond them should be pressurized or depressurized. And like, oh, it's depressurized, I need to stay closed for safety.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives it like the knowledge that there's the room system coming in this early stage, but it's not really there yet.
Right. The next big thing is it's sort of the next three things: cargo, commodities, and kiosk support. And yes. I know those are things that both you and Twerk are looking forward to. The cargo
as well, really.
Not so much the kiosk support. Maybe for selling of cargo. I wonder if
you need to sell that shit you buy.
Yeah, loot. I guess we can't sell it to other players. We won't be able to sell it to other players yet.
I mean,
or do you think?
Might. I don't know. I thought I might be to do with service beacons in the future, so probably not in 3.0. Maybe they want expanded org and party support. Maybe part of that is trade. I mean, as soon as we have inventories, we should be able to trade.
Right. You.
That's in 3.0 or 3.1.
Atmospheric entry. So VFX and turbulence. The atmospheric entry. So you're gonna shake around and you're gonna see glowy bits. Persistent damage, ammo, and missiles. So this is saved between sessions. When you leave the game and come back in, instead of giving you a whole new ship, it'll.
So over the next like 3 major patches, we're gonna get more and more persistence, and that's gonna be persistence to your inventories, persistence to your cargo, persistence to your ship, persistence to your damage states to your ships, and stuff like that. So this is the damage states to your ships. I suspect. Okay, because they've talked about a deeper shopping experience,
right.
They've talked about insurance, and they've talked about kiosks, and now persistent damage to ships. I expect us to be able to buy ships with Alpha UBC in-game in 3.0.
Oh, you think?
Because of these things.
I just realized you're wearing the Bored Avocado shirt. Can you just show that?
NDA.
It's gonna green screen out a little bit. Oh, it's beautiful. I love how it's just so blown up. I need to get one of those.
I looked at them and went, "These are fucking awful. They're perfect."
Perfect. Perfect.
Wear them. Oh my god! At events, and people are like, "Oh my god, this horrible face in low res."
And yeah, well, right below that, right below repair is inventory system support.
I think this is.
But this is manage the cargo and commodities that are being carried by the ships a player owns.
Yeah, so this isn't going to be player inventories. This is going to be ship inventories and interactions with your ship hangar and kiosks and stuff like that. You're about to go to your ship and manage your inventory there, but you're not going to.
Or you'll be able to do it through. What do you think? Your Moby Glass? Is you think this is going to be through?
We'll see that in a minute as well. There are apps for it. For your Moby Glass. I mean, that's a big thing of 3.0. They are giving functionality to the Moby Glass and possibly a big overhaul. But we'll talk about that in a second.
Now they talked about going into the core tech. They talked about the outposts, but they didn't say anything about the space stations. But now under planetary tech, they physics grids for planets and the modular space stations. So. Do you think that we're going to get the modular space stations in, as well as the outposts?
Yes. Yes, I do. I just don't think we're getting the truck stops until 3.1. We'll be getting modular stations and modular satellites before then.
So you think the comrades now will be different?
Not necessarily.
Not entirely, yeah.
We might get those comrades and some more points of interest.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all kinds of different explorable buildings and stuff like that. I've always wanted a game where any building, now I know this isn't true over the entire thing, but where you're able to go into most buildings, right? Even if there's no reason to go into them. Like some of these space stations or outposts, there may never be a reason for you to ever go and see a specific outpost or whatever. But the fact that you can still go into them if you want to and explore the couple rooms that's in there or whatever is really exciting for me. Something super minor, but it just adds to the whole gameplay overall. Solar system tool, they've shown that before on ATV. It looks really cool. Nothing else really to say about that. The entity update component scheduler. So this goes in with the network bind unbind stuff, right?
It
but
does.
is different. Same, but different. So how is the entity update component scheduler different from the bind unbind stuff? Because it sounds the same to me.
So one of them is literally looking at entities which are visual, and the other is looking at network stuff. So
like information.
So is this changing state? The background would be for the network stuff. Do I need to know where the ship is? Do I need to know where these players are? Do I need to know where these missiles or an ammo is? And that's for the network stuff. Whereas the entities for the update component scheduler would be, do I need to render these lights? Do I need to know where these lights are rendering? Do I need to, what levels of detail is this sort of stuff? All for different entities. And yeah, the further that stuff is away from a player, the less important it is. Literally goes, this is far away, this is less important.
Not important. Yes. Okay. And then the entity owner manager will track entities that are moved around in the universe, making sure we spawn and unspawn them at the correct time. And the thing that immediately comes to mind is how everybody was moving around the bennies and how that was different for different players. Do you think that this is going to sync that up with other players? So if you have this, it's going to spawn it in the ship, so you see it in the ship. Other players will see it in the ship. When you move it onto a space station, other players would see it there as well. And then when everybody's gone, it'll despawn it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that the Big Benny's machines just instantly despawn when you touch them. But for other
things,
right.
I'm using that as an example because we have that in now. Let's use the Pips machine.
Oh, okay, the Pips. That's fine. Power up with Pips, mate.
Power up.
I'm all about.
Power up with Pips, mate.
Yeah, I do think that will be how it is really. Like that, it's basically going to go, what of these entities are important? How important are they? Is it a gun? You drop a gun, it might despawn relatively quickly. You land in a ship, your ship's not going to despawn for a long time.
Yeah. Our next section is called Zane. UI. Zane.
Oh, I see.
And they go through the kiosk UI. We saw some of that in the last ATVs. The item 2.0 MFDs, the multifunction displays, saw that. The field of view slider, which they said was done, right?
Yeah.
So that's already in. ETA was the 5th of May.
And they've got with the rendered texture stuff as well. They've got it so that text and stuff looks good at all reses and all fields of view.
And here it is, the holy grail of the entire patch, character customization.
It is pretty high up on
It is pretty high up there. That's why I call 3.0 the Barbie patch. It's because any patch that has the character customization will be forever known. Overshadows planetary tech. Everything else, not really. But
this is going to be the first game I've played in a long time where I can't change the size of my dick. And I'm being relatively honest.
Yeah, Bored. Don't be so sure yet. Don't be so sure yet. we still have a way to go, and sometimes these things sneak in. But character heads, hair, eye color, and skin color.
I'm a little bit upset that there's a comma after eye color and then and. That's
You're not a fan of the Oxford comma?
Oh.
See, I prefer it.
You're a monster.
Apparently. But yeah, one of the things that they talked about with hair is they're not. I think you can choose a hairstyle, but then choose different lengths of said hairstyle.
Can you?
I think so. I thought
there was just a lot of hairstyles, but you couldn't really customize hair much other than color and stuff.
No, that was my understanding. Was that the hair? It was a hairstyle, but depending on how long it was how it sort of. I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can imagine
be
that.
short or longer, and then so it's gonna feel like there's even more variations than there actually are.
Yeah. Okay.
And if I misread that or I misheard that, CIG, you got that one for free.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would actually. That will be
a
different
thing.
Styles. Yeah, it might be. This is a longer version of that style, but it's a different style. But
Do you think that with the character heads and hair, that we'll get beards with this? initially.
Yes. I think we'll get facial hair. They've talked about it before and said it might be a bit later, but I think we'll get it.
Yeah.
They're working on facial hair tech.
You think we're you think we're gonna get it with 3.0? Is what I'm asking. Okay.
I do. I mean, they basically said maybe not in the past. They said it's going to take a bit longer to do facial hair, but I think we will. I'm aspirationally, I'm optimistic about facial hair.
Okay. The personal manager app. This app is going to allow people to review their inventory. So it sounds like player inventory will be in, and various aspects of their suit and weapons.
So this might not be full inventory yet, but it will be sort of like you can see your loadout Star Marine style.
Right. Yeah, and I was going to say, do you think this is going to look identical to how it's shown in Star Marine? Because this will be on your Mobi-Glass.
Yeah. I think they can have it pretty similar to that because they can break the fourth wall quite easily with the Mobi-Glass. That's such a good idea for them to be able to go, well, you're going to do this with the Mobi-Glass, or you're going to change... even when you're changing clothes and stuff, they can do a lot of clever stuff with the Mobi-Glass, maybe, while you're changing.
I just want everybody to know that since I said about my lights that flash every time someone's tagged me, I've gotten a whole bunch of tweets being like, hey, bro, is your lights flashing yet? The lights that are in my office that flash are like a warmer yellow than the rest of the ones, so you may notice it on my face, you may not. But it is definitely working, guys. It's definitely working.
I didn't get epilepsy until I got 30 tweets every second.
Until I got they don't flash that fast.
It's
mission manager app. This is going to be something that's cool. And I guess it needs to be in there properly. We kind of have one in there now, but they're going to redo it entirely.
It's going to be a better version of the crappy one we've got at the moment.
Because right now we don't have the render to panel tech. I think that will come in with the mission stuff. They showed that at the Levski stuff, right? There's no ability to play back audio files in it. I feel like it's going to be able to add a lot more functionality into it overall.
Well, I think the mission manager, do we think it's going to be blended with the journal then? Because they're two different functions. One will track missions.
I think the journal is going to keep things like any written content you see on those pads. It would be nice if they add the journal where you can actually write your own stuff in there and have it so other players can pick that up and read it or add it to their own journal. Because then we could just we can do a whole video or a whole stream of us writing stories, like rewriting creepypastas into Star Citizen, and then just leaving little pads places.
I like the idea of killing a player, taking his journal, and then just reading it on stream.
Yeah. Oh, I had a crush on this girl. Yeah, I got this one.
Yes. Oh my god, yeah.
The mission board app is going to be coming in. The star map coming in, which is what we have on the website coming into the game.
So this is going to, I believe, allow us to quantum travel around. But also...
not initially, though, right?
Yeah, initially. I think we're initially going to, with the star map app.
That's what you use to quantum around?
So yeah, it'll be integrated with your ship. So you'll have one with a ship, and I think you'll have one on your Mobi-Class. And I think it's going to be basically the same system, but it's going to be, I'm going to quantum travel here, and then you can, it will sync with your computer on your ship, and you can quantum travel that.
You just get in your ship, and it just autopilots to whatever you set up on your Mobi-Glass?
Well, I mean, you might have to press a button, or it might just tag the coordinates, but I do think it's going to be selectable.
Yeah, similar to what it does when you have a mission. It selects it with the triangle, so it's like, that's where you need to go. If you pre-plan your route.
I think we're about to select literal individual locations rather than just points of interest as well. I hope, anyway.
Okay, that would be cool. If there's a coordinate base, and then you could have people
share them,
come in and be like, okay, guys, we're going to meet here.
That might be a bit too complex for 3.0, but that's what I'm hoping.
That's what you're hoping in the long term for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. And a Mobi-Glass overhaul is a stretch goal. So they're planning on an overhaul of the entire Mobi-Glass, so it better reads what the game code is doing overall. And it's going to make it easier for to maintain for the UI team.
And do you remember us seeing some of the customization they wanted to do for the Mobi-Glass?
Yeah, like change colors and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think that's part of that.
You think that's part of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Being able to change things to For example, if you wanted it to be yellow, if Twerk wanted to keep it the blue color or change it to green, or I want to change it to red, or...
Oh, I wanted to mention something before we go on, actually. When we were talking about the environments, so Star Citizen now have moved away from using behavior, BHVR,
right,
for their environments team.
Yep.
And they're now using their own environments team, which they've slowly been gaining over time. So
right.
they're bringing all the environments like Crusader and Microtech, Houston. They're bringing them all to be worked on internally.
Yes.
Nothing of behavior has been lost.
No.
But they're just
it's not like behavior dropped the ball or anything like that. It's behavior is their own studio as well and make their own games. One of the games you may have heard of is Dead by Daylight.
Yep.
Is one of their games. What is they had another one too, didn't they? That just recently came out or is going to come out?
Probably. I mean, they get some quite good niche games that lots of people play. I'm just going to find out what the other game is. But yeah, I think they just came to the end of their contract and they talked about stuff, and behavior just didn't have enough time to be able to do what Star Citizen wanted. It would be unfair for them to kind of force them to do it based on contract. That's the way I read that. And it makes sense because Star Citizen should handle as much as possible internally.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it's a good move for them to bring all of that stuff internal anyways, as they have the employees to do so.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving forward onto AI, this is the mission system and the AI turrets, which is what we talked about earlier. They are saying we're adding the ability for AI to operate turrets in Crusader, and they want to make sure that they're tracking and firing on the correct targets. So I like you said, I think this is sort of combined in system with the player turrets, make sure they're functioning, they're smooth, they feel well, and then also programming the AI to know how to use them properly as well.
I mean, it's going to be quite exciting having AI that can fight in turrets, and that players can actually use turrets that actually will hit stuff.
Yay!
Woo!
And with the mission system, when they talk about it here, we get a little glimpse into some of the mission types they're planning. Patrol missions, assassination missions, smuggling missions, etc. Now, something we don't have in right now, we have the patrol missions at Korea on foot. We don't really have smuggling missions because cargo's not in, and you can't bring anything anywhere. And we don't have any assassination missions. Well, we kind of do, I guess, at Korea again. But nothing for like a specific target.
I think we're going to see as many simple missions as possible. The first iteration, it's going to be fetch missions, which might be smuggling, which might be cargo missions, might be cargo runs. There's going to be travel to missions. There's going to be searching missions. There's going to be lots of those little missions like the Ovalex Gundo tub thing, where you've got to investigate stuff. It's going to be loads and loads and loads of really simple, basic missions, and then a couple of those like quest chains from Mars at Carton Ruto, which are those theme park rides.
Right.
But not much of anything else. Like, a lot of these missions will be replayable and stuff, but it's going to be simple. It's been like, kill these pirates, kill this one pirate, kill this one dude, intercept this cargo. It's going to be stuff like that.
Awesome.
Protect this guy.
Protect this guy. Protect this guy. Yeah, I mean, and do you think with the new mission systems and stuff like that, right now, when I just thought we do have an assassination mission, which is the criminality thing, right? The level 5 criminal. Do you think that the systems now will be able to propagate what that player's name is instead of just, hey, go kill this bad guy?
Yeah, I mean, it treats them as an entity. It's got a name. Yeah, I suspect that it will be literally written into the mission, the name of the person you're hunting. Or not.
Now, moving on to the next section of the 3.0 report is something I think Star Citizen lacks in, and that's graphics. The one thing they have locked down. So the render to texture was a big thing. We talked about that and all the different things that could, right? So it introduces live rendering of video communications, which means that they have something that is aimed and acting as a camera in game, and they just attach that to different things. I think would be really awesome, and especially if you allow players to control those things as well. But it also will save a ton of space. because video does take up quite a bit. The environment probe is basically how lighting and stuff works. You put in probes and yeah, so bounce lighting and reflections.
Get lights.
And get lights in there. The atmospheric entries. They talked about the visual effects for this, but this is going to be able to. People are like, oh, we're not going to get atmospheric light entries because we don't have planets. Well, the moons are going to have.
Some of them will.
Some of those, yeah. Some of those things. So, yeah.
We saw the atmospheric entry, the head of it on in the 3.0 Gamescom demo when it goes into Levski.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But what I'm actually excited about is the volumetric fog, because the fog effects and the smoke effects I've seen so far look amazing, and this kind of starts to lean towards the gas giant tech that is, I think, is going to be one of the most impressive things we've ever seen in the game. So I'm excited. I'm bigging it up. I'm excited.
Fair enough. Volumetric fog, GPU particles, and engine trails and contrails. All things that are going to be in. The GPU particles is a big thing as well, right? For the explosions, for environment, like weather, stuff like that. Is all going to be done on the GPU instead of CPU stuff. And it's going to be cool overall. Then we also have the back-end stuff, which is, this stuff goes over my head. So Diffusion subset for 3.0. Diffusion is our second-gen cloud-oriented back-end service architecture. Yes.
Let me find my little thing on Diffusion. So Diffusion stuff is it's the back-end services architecture, which allows for creation of scalable and high-performing stateless services, which will allow a larger number of concurrent players and improve stability. That's what their Diffusion refactors and all that stuff is towards. So supporting eventually more players in the game. Okay,
Yeah.
End goal for all of that jazz.
Gotcha. Bringing in more scalability for that. Solar System Shop Service. This is going to detail what you can buy from where. So it'll know what stores will carry what and where you can get those things, and how to keep that the same across the board for all the players. And then their mission service as well. So that's what missions are being offered and at what price. And I'm wondering if missions increase in value if they are not taken over time.
Well, if there is a demand for a mission because they need a particular resource, then yes, that would make sense. Like the shop service will work in conjunction with the mission service, which will work in conjunction with Price Fixture and Trade Slayer, which are the other tools they use for the economy, which will generate the value of these missions. And yeah, that makes sense. So we need these pirates killed. People keep on dying when they do the mission. That mission should go up in value.
Yeah, fair enough. And then network. This is the big thing. This is the big stuff for 3.0. New message queues, physics serialization, and then the stretch goal of network bind unbind. So they already have the messages are strictly ordered, and that's been able to streamline the processing. The new message queue also has a few extra features to better handle packet loss and jitter, helping reduce average bandwidth overall and latency, which is going to be really awesome.
That uses the word jitter and less of it makes me happy.
Yes. And then physics serialization is going to fix long-standing issues between the network and the physics code, because as we know right now, everything is on the server, and so the physics are tied in with that. So this is going to serialize that, and I believe that brings it more over to the player side of things. And then the network bind unbind, and we talked about that earlier. Ships and weapons coming in. We have the Dragonfly, the new Cutlass Black, which we've seen, the Constellation Aquila, with it has the Ursa rover, which I'm really excited to drive. I don't own one, but I'm excited for one. The Prospector.
You'll own one pretty soon, I'm sure, Saurus.
I will.
It'll take a few hours before you've got an Ursa rover kicking in the back of your Caterpillar.
That's true. Prospector. And then some new weapons, the Bearing P8, the Apocalypse Arms, and then reworks of the energy rifle, the sniper rifle, and the shotgun. With this, what is the one thing out of these that you want to try first?
Oh, out of the ships and weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the Dragonfly.
Mine is hands down the Dragonfly, followed closely by the Cutlass. No, followed by the Rover, then the Cutlass.
Yeah.
Then
Dragonfly and then Rover.
Then the Scourge gun.
Oh my god, the
railgun. Running around with this giant.
Fire the railgun at dragonflies. That's basically what I want to do. Sound of the police. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah, so that is basically covers what's coming in 3.0. So there's a lot of stuff coming in 3.0. It's not like there's, it's some visual stuff or it's a couple missions. It's gonna feel like a whole new game, I think, right? With some of the same assets. It's like a whole new game with some of the assets we have and some of the mechanics we have already.
They've literally smashed the PU to bits and recreated it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they've done. And it's set up. It's a whole new development branch of the game, which has been being developed for 9 months independently of 2.6.
Yeah.
So there's so much here, and it's basically for the last 9 months we've been running on a legacy version of the branch for the game. Obviously, they're able to test stuff and get stuff in and test things and do all the important bits and
bring stuff over as they bring it over and whatever.
Yeah. It's 3.0 is where it's at. And that's why this isn't a 2.7 patch. This is a 3.0 light patch. It is slightly different from what we expected. We wanted a more fleshed out system, but these are all
of the mechanics. This is the thing, is all of the mechanics for what would be in the 3.0 whatever people expected are there anyways, right? The atmospheric entries are still going to be happening on those moons and stuff like that. Like you look at Daymar, it has atmosphere. It has the fog, it has storms, all of that stuff that's indicative of an atmosphere. So you will be coming in with those atmospheric effects, with turbulence and all of that other stuff. These are just, think of them as mini planets for the time being with one biome, I guess is the best way to do it.
It's all foundation. It's all the foundations for everything else, and it's all like smaller versions of tangible gameplay. But it is still tangible gameplay on the new branch, so it is fair to call it 3.0.
Yeah. Now, something I didn't expect, I don't think you expected this, I don't think anybody expected this, was to not only get the 3.0 schedule report, we got the schedule report for the rest of the year. We got what they're planning on doing for 3.0, 3.1, and 3.2. And there will most likely be patches in between, right? Just like we have 2.6.3. We'll get a 3.0.4 or something, right? 4A, 4D. But there is an image here. I don't want to go through all of that because it takes so long. But let's quickly go through 3.1 and 3.2. What's coming in those things? What stands out? And then let's jump into questions. So Persistent Universe, the truck stops are coming in, and ArcCorp Area 18. Now, do you think
as a tangible location? Yes,
as a tangible location. Now, ArcCorp Area 18 is on Crusader, right? Or no, it's on ArcCorp. Sorry, no, that's a planet. Oh my god, I'm so stupid.
Okay.
I was thinking it was a spot on Crusader, but ArcCorp is an entire planet, and that's the first planet that's coming in. That's gonna be really interesting to see because that's a whole like commercialized planet, right? So I'm interested to see how they're gonna tackle it and how actually it's gonna be in game. You know what I mean?
Obviously, we've got the very small area in Area 18, but that should actually be a explorable planet as well.
Yes. Female player locomotion, like you said. Does this mean that female players are in with 3.0, 3.1? That's what it seems to allude to.
They have to be in with 3.1, don't they? Or is that maybe suggesting that just NPCs with it's female player? So female player locomotion suggests to me that it's either in 3.0 we're going to have females or 3.1.
3.1. Shouldered weapons. which is funny. They say that because we have 3.0 has the shouldered Scourge gun.
Is there more weapons?
More weapons, throwable weapons. Well, you have grenades already. Do you think that's knives and things like that?
Yeah.
Yes, because 2 lines down they say knife. So this also brings in fists. So think of all those beautiful fist fights are just gonna happen. Knock someone out and then drag them away and throw them out the airlock without their spacesuit. Takedowns, so front, sides, and rears, and knockdowns and knockbacks. So a lot of melee stuff coming in.
Yeah, so it's going to be a bit of hopefully a simple but fun hand-to-hand combat system. I don't want it to be too involved. Like, I don't want to see like, oh fuck, I've got a gun, but there's a ninja running towards me. I can't possibly kill him with my rocket launcher in time. So I have to fight him in hand-to-hand combat, and he's going to go and like knock my head off. Like, I don't want that. But I do want the ability to stab someone, but to dodge, take a couple of hits, and then like run away, get stabbed in the back, whatever. I like the idea of some combat.
Core dev tech and systems, so fuel item 2.0. The criminality system is getting a total rework.
It's interesting that it says fuel item 2.0, saying it was already stated in 3.0.
Yeah. Is it they talk about ship to ship in this one, or is that 3.2? I think that's 3.2. So yeah, I wonder what that means. Maybe you know what it might mean? It might mean the physical fuel in your ship somehow to do with the explosion.
No, it was
or something.
It was already mentioned as item 2.0 fuel, so it's it's in either one of the patches or it's a stretch goal for the first patch.
Okay,
It'll be that surely.
A rework of the criminality system that we have now. Room system.
That's probably quite big, that criminality system that we
work. It'll be a lot more complex.
Yes.
Yeah. The room system version 2.0 is a physical depressurization. Right? Now, this will be... Do you think this will be both on space stations? Right? Because planet side, there's no depressurization. Space stations and ships?
It might be on some planets as well with the outposts.
Oh,
might depressurize.
I guess if they don't have an atmosphere, if they have moons without atmospheres,
or even if they do have an atmosphere with different pressure, the idea of that room system is it goes different pressures. So you should get depressurization in different areas, even if there is no pressure point. You know what I mean? Like it should work out.
They showed a very early concept of this. Remember when they shut out the windows in the space station and all those things got sucked out?
If that's what's going to be happening, I'm so happy.
Yeah,
3.1 will be my favorite patch. That's what
sucks players out. Instead of like killing someone, you're just like, oh, window, bye, bye, Felicia.
I just fire my rocket launcher at a window instead.
Yeah,
fuck you, ninja.
Item 2.0 elevators. I don't know what the difference is in between that. The airlocks. Probably all of these things have to do with the room systems. Item degradation, failure, and luck. This sounds like grenades, weapons.
You think grenades will just explode? Oh my god, maybe they'll have different. I was thinking that item degradation would be your weapons need servicing, or they randomly degrade, or you get degraded if you're in that lightning storm.
Right.
That's components on vehicles.
Or if you've taken damage, it damages those things.
Time. And also that will be part of like a repair system where you might get a component failing on a ship you're fighting or whatever. Fails. Or you're in quantum drive or whatever.
Smart beacons version 1, or sorry, service beacons.
Smart beacons is probably a better name for them.
Yeah, probably. Parties and orgs. We don't have that in there, so 3.1 will be the first implementation. This is basically the org patch, right? And will be a lot easier, I would imagine, to party up with people in your organization and play with them. Game persistence overall. Spectrum integration. Repair and restock system. Elevators version 2. Bind, unbinding. And they talked about that as a stretch goal for 3.0, so that could come in before then. And object container streaming core engine support. So that's that stuff you were talking about that everything's set up for.
Well, yeah. So this is the next stage of the object containers. So we'll get some streaming with this, but we're not going to get full streaming or close to full streaming until 3.2.
And then the ships that are coming in are the Razor, the Aurora, updated Aurora, the Terrapin, the Hull C, which is the only one that's really surprising to me. The Cutlass Red, the Cutlass Blue, and the Harbinger, which is a variant of the Vanguard. And then 3.2, we're gonna get the rest of the planets. So our Crusader, Hurston, and Microtech, they're gonna go as a stretch goal.
That's a good choice with Microtech as a stretch goal, because that's going to be a hard planet to do.
And why do you think that's going to be? Is it because the assets are so different?
Yeah, I think it's the assets are so different, and it's very juxtaposed as a thing. Like the others, they can kind of fake. This is very, very different.
And then FPS space gameplay. The first thing that is really interesting is new ammo types. So do you think that that's going to mean we're going to be able to select our ammo types for some of the weapons? Like, for example, the shotgun have a birdshot or a slug? Or do you think it's going to be something like it just brings in weapons with different, like, plasma weapons or...
No, I think that's literally going to be we have a extra selection of... We have different ammo types that we can use in those weapons for more specialist circumstances. Some better for taking out armor, some for slowing people down, some for EMP, whatever.
I really, really hope that's the case. I really want that in there. Also, gadgets, so drones and shields specifically, they mention here. So that'll be awesome to have for first-person stuff. Bumps. What does this mean?
I think this is physically bumping into players and staggering them.
And this goes with the knockdown, knockback system, you think?
Yeah,
and
so
sort of as a more minor
player. I'd literally go, ooh.
Okay.
It's literally that.
Cooperative avoidance.
So I think this is where AI avoid each other, and
isn't so they? You know the game Assassin's Creed. You know when you walk through a crowd and you move, like you touch them on the shoulder and you move them out of the way.
Yeah.
Do you? That's what that sounds like. Cooperative avoidance to me, and maybe the bump stuff.
I also think it's AI literally going, I know where you are, I know where I am, and I'm going to select a path that looks intelligent, which doesn't make me go judder all over the place.
Yeah, right. Make me look like I'm doing a zigzag.
Make me look like an NPC.
Yeah. Downed, I assume.
Yep, so you wanted dragging people.
Yep.
Probably be downed, dragged, and healed.
Drowning.
You go exploring those water caves.
Now, I'm really curious to know that if drowning only happens, like, if you're, like, will you be able to use your spacesuits underwater?
I don't drowning's
right?
A weird one, isn't it?
It's weird because that would mean that you would have to be not in like your spacesuit would be watertight. So
maybe there's like a fountain in like Crusader or something that people can drown in.
That would be amazing if it's only like a couple feet deep, but if you go into the prone position, you just see them convulse and then drown. Yeah, you see some bubbles and then the bubbles stop, and then they're just ragdoll. Item inspection, which I'm kind of surprised we don't have this for our weapons already, because you can inspect them from the wall, but you can inspect it when you have it yourself. And I would have thought that they would have made that just a keybind, that you could look at your weapon like you do when you bring it down.
So I think they want a full item inspection system, which is going to be part of the interaction system.
And with the degradation of weapons and all of that other stuff to be able to look at it.
Okay, as well. It's a reason to look at your weapon, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. And it says looting and permissions. I don't know what the IK stands for. Looting IK / permissions.
I don't know what IK stands for in this situation either. I don't know. I did used to know what IK meant.
Yeah, Googled it. No answer.
It just says you're an idiot. But
if anybody knows in chat, feel free to just say it.
IK was like, I can't fucking. I'm too tired.
Yeah, that's okay. We're almost done. And then the core dev tech, so NPC generation, based on archetype.
Kinematics.
Inverse kinematics. Is that right?
That's what IK means, I'm sure of it.
It doesn't make looting inverse kinematics. Does that make sense?
I don't know anymore. I'm too tired.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. NPC generation, awesome. Interaction system for usables, awesome. Radar system, cargo version 2, service beacon 2, star map 2, gas giant tech. And I hope
what I was talking about.
This is. I hope they use the fog and the GPU particles and stuff for the gas giant tech. And you're able to fly through the gas giants to a certain extent as if they were like giant clouds.
So for me, this is probably the most exciting visual thing that Star Citizen might be doing. It's Crusader and that giant gas tech. And I'm so hoping it looks beautiful.
More than their black hole?
More than the black hole, yeah. If there's a black hole near a gas giant, that's probably going to get me to peak.
Yeah, if it's like sucking some of the gas giant in. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. And that could be like the yellow brick road. You just follow it around. Ship-to-ship refuel system. The Starfarer is fully functional at that point. Breaching. This is something I'm excited for.
Whoa. Before we go to breaching, you say that the Starfarer is fully functional here. We don't know if it's going to have the ability to harvest fuel as well.
That's true.
Though it probably will. I suspect as soon as that gas giant tech's there will be fuel harvesting. And for me, of the mining, fuel mining is probably the easiest for them to do.
Yeah, it's just flying through a cloud.
it's just clouds
in space.
Space.
You guys, listen, guys. It's just clouds in space. Everybody knows.
Source will do it.
Make it
happen.
It's just clouds in space, guys. Breaching is something I'm really excited about, and I'm wondering if the breaching is only going to be able to happen on airlocks and doors.
Yeah, there will be certain areas to breach on ships.
And does this mean like something like a C4 breach, or is this more of like a laser cutter, or what is it?
I think it will be breaching, hacking, laser cutter, and explosives. I think all of those are legitimate ways of breaching.
Right.
Possibly even a door opening tool, which literally just pushes the door open.
And on the more proper side of that is the security and access control. So being able to say, yeah, you know what, I want Bored to be able to open the doors on my ship, and this person and whatever, but nobody else. Or you have the option to use these seats and these doors, kind of thing, for the security access control. And then
you have to lock ships as well.
Here is the end of object container streaming finally in 3.2.
Yes, that's my expectation, is that at the end, at 3.2, we will have 99%, if not 100%, of the object container streaming functions. So, good frame rates.
And then the ships, good frame rates. And then the ships coming in are mostly multi-crew. Oh, they're all multi-crew. Constellation Phoenix.
All variants.
The Taurus, the Freelancer Max, the Sentinel, and the Dur. So the Freelancers, with the exception of the Miz, will all be in at this point. And all of the constellations will be, yes, right? Because the Aquila is coming in 3.0.
Yeah.
So all the constellations will be in by 3.2. And now they're...
all of the RSI ships?
No. I don't think so.
Oh, they've added a...
What about the...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
about
so.
all those bloody ships? So many ships.
And what were the dates they were aiming for 3.1 and 3.2?
So, by the end of 2017, I suggest is the best way of, if we talk about dates now from the schedule overview thing, it will be a stab in the dark still. I suspect just saying by the end of 2017 is probably a better way of saying it.
Yeah. So they're aiming to have all of this in, hoping, fingers crossed, by the end of this year. And that's everything. And once again, a huge shout out to CIG for putting all of that stuff in there, because I know us on the podcast and us as a community are always asking for more and more information about what's going on. What kind of things are you putting in? Update us more. This was, I think, the best thing that they could have done. for this. I'm really happy with not only the 3.0 schedule, but the fact that they added the extension on that and basically just said, hey, this is all the stuff we're working on that isn't Squadron 42. That being said, we are going to jump over into questions right now. If you have any exclamation point question in chat, we're going to try and get through these as quickly as possible. I know Bored's pretty tired here. Understatement, maybe.
Good.
We do have quite a few questions, so we will try and get those through here.
I am going to have a 2-second biosaurus.
Okay, he's going to do that, and we'll hang out here. We'll hang out here. So, Cataphor asked the first question, and he's asking if we're going to have caves. They said that we're going to have caves, underwater caves, so I don't, and we talked about this earlier, I don't see why we wouldn't have planet-side caves. It just depends on if they're able to procedurally generate those, which I hope they're able to. Yeah, I really hope so. I want to see at least one planet that's like that, or one moon that's going to be explorable from a cave perspective as well. And like I said earlier, if we can get planetary habitations, then I think that would be like the coolest place to build them. Until they release, until they start to show us what some of these different biomes and everything are. Tom says, do you think it was a good idea? Okay, I'll wait for Bored to get back here.
I'm back.
Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Oh, you're wireless. Gotcha. Tom says, do you think it was a good idea to have that special cut list section of ATV when we will not see the cut list for at least 2 to 3 months? Well, we'll see it potentially in a month.
I mean, we'd never see anything on ATV if that was the thinking. Yeah, I think that's fine.
I mean, how long ago did they show the depressurization of the space station? That was like a year ago.
Yeah, probably.
You know, when did they first start showing the room system? A while ago. Like that's what ATV is for, is to give us a sneak peek into the development. And the last thing I want to do is ask CIG to stop doing that. I want them to do more of that. I want them to do as much of that as possible. I don't care how far stuff is. If they're able to show it and they want to show it, please show it. You know. Jay Crawford says, with the ability to land on moons and planets, do you think that there will be meteors and asteroids? Space debris visible from the surface of astral bodies. Example, a comet entering atmosphere and partially burning up or entirely burning up. Will you be able to see it collide with a moon or planet? That's a really good question. Not initially, I don't think. We know that you're going to be able to see stuff from planet side. When they showed one of the demos, one of the things that they wanted to show was the space station, and you could see that through the atmosphere even. You could see that out there. I imagine that if you had a planet with rings, or you had a planet with an asteroid belt around it, or I guess that's the same thing, you would be able to see that as well. It depends, I think, on how large that debris field is and how close it is to the planet. But yeah, why not? And also whether it's daytime or nighttime on that planet, on how well you'll be able to see into into space. Narco, he has 3 questions on the same topic. When do you think we're going to be able to buy ships with in-game money that persist in the persistent universe? A year's,
3.0, I think.
I don't think we're going to get it in 3.0. I would like it in 3.0. I think they're going to hold that off. Well, I don't think we're going to see it maybe until past 4.0.
You're cray-cray.
I know I'm cray-cray, but I just don't think it's happening. Do you think this feature will threaten the CIG's financing model? That's why I don't think it'll come in. I think it will make people buy more ships.
Really? Yeah. More people will get access to the game, more people will play it, more people will buy ships. It's very few people that spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on ships. Right. They are the people that are really, really into the game. And the only thing you're going to get from this is more people really into the game, or some people trying out a ship that they spend a little bit more money on.
Okay.
Most people just have spent under $100 on the game. Most people.
And then his last question on the same topic is, do you think this is the one reason why we haven't heard anything about that feature?
I'm going to be asking about it a lot. Don't you worry.
So there we go.
3.0.
Yeah. So, anybody from CIG, can we buy ships in 3.0? Next question's from Xfire Games. We know 3.0 will come with moons, and they already have 12, and they already take 12 days to circumnavigate while walking. How big do you think planets are going to be? And where's good size do you think to differentiate between planet size and moon size? Well, planets how big are planets IRL? How big are moons IRL? And then you sort of correlate in between the two, right? Now, the moons are a lot smaller than, say, our moon. Our moon's actually quite large in real life. But there's a lot of, like, most moons are pretty small. There's like an actual designation for sizes, right?
I'm trying to work out the size of the moon compared to the Earth. The
Yeah.
moon is like over 3.5. It's 3.6 times. Earth is 3.6 times the size
Of the moon. We're an exception though. Like it's like we're kind of weird. It's I think like one of the hypotheses is that the moon was also it was two planets. We crashed into each other a long time ago.
Oh, Quithway or something. Yeah.
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 Because our moon is actually quite large compared to most of the other planets in our solar system. What their moons are and how people can how they can tell the wobble from other planets based on the size of the moons that rotate around them.
It may take you around 45 days to walk around a planet in star system.
There you go. There you go.
You
That's the answer you're looking for. Hell's Havoc says, what are your thoughts on content that will be delivered for 3.0? I'm super excited. It's a lot of stuff. That's why I'm saying like PTU and Evocati are going to go longer than they're planning, because it's so much stuff to test, man. There's so much coming in.
Am I going to be doing guides or playing and doing gameplay? These are like big things, like
both.
Yeah, both indeed.
Yeah. I'm going to I might start doing guides when 3.0 comes out.
Oh my
right?
God.
And this is how I'm going to do them. You see that start recording thing in OBS? I'm going to be like, okay, guys, time for the intro. Hi, guys. WTFOSAURUS here. We're going to do a guide today on... I'm just going to do it while I'm streaming. And just record it. And then when I'm done, done. And then just upload it.
Done, mate. Done.
Yeah, done and done. That's a plan. Yeah, there's so much coming in 3.0 that I'm really happy with the content that's coming in. It's what I expected. I wasn't really expecting all of the planets and stuff. Or if we would have got the planets, I feel that they would have been really, really dumbed down. Yeah. What are your thoughts on 3.0 delivered content?
I don't know. I don't know. I need it in my hands to be able to have more.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know yet.
Doesn't know
I'm
yet.
too excited. I'm quite tired. And I'm excited.
Dr. Mooks, do you think CIG will take some time for proper marketing regarding Squadron 42, and will they let us know the release date in advance? So like an official trailer with a solid release date a few months prior. Yeah. No, they're going to do it only 2 months after it's out.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work, and thanks for taking the time every week. Much appreciated. Cheers from Munich, Germany.
Hello to Munich, Germany.
Hello from Canada. Yeah, I mean, of course, I think they're going to do proper marketing for Squadron 42. How far before? Maybe only a month before? Maybe 2 months before? I don't know. But I guess we'll know when they do it.
How the hell they're doing that advertising model's mad. They don't spend anything on advertising.
I think they will for Squadron 42.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah. Windlord asks, do you guys think they will have a further refined time to kill by 3.0 to improve opportunity to disable the ship to steal the cargo versus it going boom? Or do you think the approach will be similar to EVE Online? A small percentage of the cargo drops in canisters on destruction.
Both higher time to kill and certain percentage of the cargo not exploding.
I'm gonna say higher time to kill, and this is what we were talking about earlier, where it depends on where you're shooting and disabling the ship, to whatever. If you just hit its thrusters, then it shouldn't be able to go anywhere. And then I'm gonna say that the cargo drops are based on how much damage you've done to them.
Yeah,
like physically.
You shoot it with a load of missiles into its cargo bay. It's going to blow up a load of the cargo.
Then you destroy the cargo. Then you can't pick up the cargo. It's not going to be a percent. I don't think it'll be like a percentage drop no matter what. I think it'll be physically based on what you destroy on it. Oh, that was Aliciana's question. Sorry. Windlord's question is, with the lack of mining in the 3.0 schedule, or anywhere on the schedule, it was confirmed as being in by Brian C in his quantum queues. Do you think this will still be in when they add the prospector? It seems a little pointless to add the ship without the mining mechanic. To be fair, we have a lot of ships in that don't have their mechanics in. Number one. Number two, Starfire is a perfect example for that. Number two is at the very beginning, not everything is included. So maybe they don't know where the mining is going to come in. It may come in with 3.0. It may come in with 3.1. It may come in with 3.2. I feel...
there are 3 types of mining, though. There's mining on planets, there's mining gas, and there's mining asteroids. So we're going to get some of that quite early, I suspect, but others later.
Yeah. So it really depends on where... It also depends on where they feel they're finished on that, and I think that they didn't have a solid enough answer that they even were willing to put a stretch goal beside it. That's my opinion on that. Guns and Glue says, what do you think the Banu Defender's loadout and stats will be?
Wait, can you not wait 2 days?
Yeah,
it's going to be a long range ship.
Yeah, long range.
Ships. Yeah, it's going to be very much sort of like get out of here to other ships. Probably quite good at stamina. It's going to have high armor, big shields, and long high damage weapons. But slow. That's my expectation of it. Not single seater either. Spanish ship. It's going to have multiple seats.
Gerald Lopez says, will we ever see the Redeemer schedule? I have one number for you. 101. Goodbye. No. The Redeemer's not on there at all.
Is it not on anything at all? Like, is it not on this graph thing either?
No. I don't think so.
I know they are. They're doing work on it. Okay. I'll tell you if I find it.
Okay. We will eventually when they're ready to share that with us. While Board's looking for that, I'm going to move on to the next question. Big Dave 76 says, what did you think of the charge shot mechanic of the Cossack Arms plasma? I think that was the energy rifle, but the plasma shotgun. I thought it was cool. Oh, the charge shot mechanic of the plasma shotgun, similar to we have that on the sniper rifle, I think is what you're talking about.
I like the idea of it on a shotgun though.
Yeah. For like a lot of damage or like a longer range or something. Yeah, I think it's cool. I think the more variation in weapons, the better. Big Bad Fish says, do you think we will have NPCs in 3.0? Maybe some AI controlled characters running around on Port Olisar or even on the moons? I think we'll have them in the extent of maybe in an outpost behind, if there's like a little kiosk thing there or something, but not, I don't think we're going to see them walking around anywhere yet. What are your thoughts on that?
So can you repeat the question?
AI NPCs walking around 3.0.
Yeah, I think we'll see some functionality of that. We're going to have the early levels of subsumption as well. We're going to have lots of the animation. I suspect we'll have a lot more in 3.1 because that's why they talk about AI locomotion.
Right. That's the only reason I don't think we're going to have it in 3.0. I imagine we'll just have some of the more static stuff.
Maybe we have them moving around a bit, or at least a bit more mobile somehow. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose.
Okay, Roadkill says, do you think the 3.0 schedule has influenced or changed their internal schedule for Squadron 42, or are they separate? For example, do you think they'll delay showing any Squadron 42 teasers until 3.0 drops? I don't think they would be giving us any Squadron 42 teasers in between now and August anyways. So no, I don't think it influences it in that way.
I was reading on Sean Noonan's blog, I think it was Noonan's blog, about the work he'd done on the vertical slice for Squadron 42. We're going to have to wait until Gamescom, I think, before anything else, aren't we?
I think
Annoying.
we won't see anything until a big event. For Squadron 42, that is. Xfire Games says, do you think Stellan's glass cloud damage over time is the start of a gating system? Do you think CIG will allow your ship to get certain shields or armor to circumvent this to explore areas? Yeah, I'd like to think that there's different shields that you can use to mitigate different types of damage.
Yeah.
So environmental is more appropriate for explorers, right? There's no, like, when you think about it, like a pure explorer, like
Carrack.
A Carrack, thank you, doesn't really get in, like, there's no real reason for it to ever be in combat. Like, what is it? Necessarily not really anything to pirate, maybe. So
it might find aliens, or it might find.
That's true.
It might need to shoot asteroids or some environmental stuff. It has got big guns, the Carrack, but I know what you mean. Like,
yeah,
it needs to
like its primary
geared
focus
towards its environment.
Mm-hmm. So maybe something like that makes more sense to have a shield that mitigates gas cloud damage or harsher temperatures or something.
You've got the Banu Merchantman being worked on properly in earnest from the 10th of the 2nd. Can't find the Redeemer on the schedule. I'm sure I saw it.
Windlord says, if Lear 3 from BritizenCon demo is ready, would you also put this into the solar system for testing and forget the fact it is from another solar system? They said that that's what they were going to do.
Yeah.
Originally. They said that they don't care about the lore for bringing in stuff if those planets are done. They'll put them in wherever it makes sense for them to go in for the time being, for us to test them. So if it comes in, so if they get more planets done, now that's not on the schedule report at all up until 3.2, but if they get more planets done for whatever reason, they'll just throw them in the same system. And they've said that before. Neoonic says, if the Delta patch comes online sooner than later, will the significance of 3.1 and 3.2 and so on be lessened, since a planet or anything else could be pushed in the PU at will versus waiting for an all-inclusive patch? This is what I'm hoping for, but I don't know. I don't know. I know that they're aiming to get the Delta patch in before 3.0. Right? They're internally testing that now. We know that. But yeah, this would mean that they'd be able to do little fixes and input things as they're done or as they're ready. Right? Here's a ship patch. You know, and eventually get, like, you know, your weekly patch on Tuesdays or whatever it is. Our next question is from Drog. Do you think we'll initially see any effects on character movement based on the moon's gravity? So I assume he's talking about different gravity levels.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to see different gravity levels, like being able to jump higher? Or
I don't. I know it's gonna different gravities of different planets are gonna affect your flight model in atmosphere, because they answered that question a while ago. And I suppose they would affect your character stamina and the amount you'd be able to jump.
Okay, Bored. We're on the final push here. We got about 10 questions left. Count of 4. Yeah. How much do you think we should be able to carry? And if you carry too much, would you like the character to slow down? Yes, weight should be an issue on the stamina system. I don't know about slowing down, but I think it should be a stamina increase. And the amount that you should carry should be based on the amount of stuff you can carry physically, based on your armor or flight suit or Titan suit or whatever it is you have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Asosic says, do I think there'll be some new content before 3.0? Nope. Fadern says, talking of leaving notes and a diary behind, what about a system where you log the last 5 interactions you did? Jump A to B, dock at System X, but leaving out things that could cause grief in camping their home, where they leave their hangar, etc. Then when you die, it drops the last 5 things you did or more for your killers to see. Could be an interesting for counter scouting to know where the fleet potentially could be coming from. Yeah, that's an alternate to a scout, right? So being able to kill that scout, and then you're like, oh, this is where they just came from.
Yeah, like that idea.
And if they just jettison cargo prior to dying. Yeah, I really like that idea. I think that would be cool if they did, even if it was like the last 2 or 3. Blind Messenger says, how will missions work for the PU? Will it be removed for all in the PU once someone has completed it? Yes. Also, what do you think it would reload after a while? If the system determines it needs that mission, then yes, it would reload. Can multiple people do the same mission, which only one person would get the credits? I imagine whoever completes it first would get the credits for it.
I also think that part of that parties and org system that we talked about will be the sharing of credits.
Yes.
Expectation, anyway.
I know you guys don't know most of this, but I'm wondering what we think about it. I mean, a lot of it is pretty straightforward, and they've sort of talked about with it. The missions will be generated on what the game needs for its economy and all of the things that surround around it. And as those things get taken out, they're removed, and as things are needed, they're added. So there'll be some missions that'll just be ongoing forever. And there'll be some missions, yeah, right? Like, you know, there'll be resources that are always needed, and so you can always go and get them. And there'll be some things that are very niche and specific, and maybe it'll only pop up once a month or once ever. Blind Messenger says, how will the missions work for the persistent universe? Will it... we just answered that. We just answered that. Cataphor says, do you think when 3.0 is on the PU, that more people will buy Star Citizen and more non-Star Citizen streamers will stream the game? Yes.
Yes.
100%. Blind Messenger again. We know that bases will also be made on planets and moons. Yeah, that's the outposts. Do we know if we can also be made on asteroids? Oh, player-made bases. I imagine you would. I don't know if you'd want to, though, because the asteroids will be fully destructible. So maybe not. How do you think construction of the bases would work? It would be, they'd use the place system, I imagine, that they showed. Bless you.
Sorry.
That's okay. Bless you. Would you need the materials to build walls? Yes. You need the materials to build them, or you could buy the modules, I think. Either or.
Yeah. I think that we'll probably buy pre-built modules, would be my expectation of that, at least in the early stages.
Yes. At the very early stages, for sure. Cataphor says, if you work on a ship, how do you think salaries will work? Based on what the ship captain decides. Could a work giver screw you over by not paying you? Possibly. I don't know.
I think they're being forced contracts, which will literally have, when you do this, you get paid this.
Yeah, like there'll be a payment in escrow. So they'll pay out to the job well, and then the job well holds that money and then pays you.
Yeah, something like that, definitely.
And that could be the same for all missions across the board. Now you could also take personal contracts as well. It's like, oh hey, last second I need you right now. I'll give you this, and then yeah, Bored, I need you. If you could, you know, you're here. If you want to help me with the rest of this escort mission, I'll give you a 50% cut. And yeah, I could just be like, fuck you, man. I'm not paying you.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Pixpew says, if they let you buy ships with in-game currency in 3.0, won't that stop fun? We answered that already. Henrik says, with parties coming in 3.2, do you think we can get squadrons in Star Marine? I hope so. I hope we can get squadrons in Star Marine before then. I mean, we kind of can now with 4 players. You just can't tell them apart. I would like a different color for parties.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Xfire Game says, do you think inverse kinematics for looting may mean that it procedurally does the animations to grab the grenades, mags, etc. from the corpse, much like they do with cockpit switches rather than hundreds of separate animations? Oh, yeah, maybe.
It might be. I mean, it's so in the actual more complex schedule report, it's actually referred to as looting permissions / IK.
Mm-hmm.
And IK, the only thing I can think of IK meaning is inverse kinematics.
Yeah,
So
and that's
maybe,
what everybody else said in chat as well.
Yeah.
And we have 2 questions, Bored. Question number 1 from Mr. Yellow. What do you think the Saber Renegade the Saber Raven, I'll change it for you. The Renegade was the Avenger.
Avenger,
yeah. The Saber Raven we saw in the video about the schedule report. I bet you it's a stealth saber.
The Saber's already supposed to be stealth.
Extra
but it could
stealth.
be a more stealthy one.
Yeah.
Could be. So typically in games, Ravens, like in Necro and stuff, are scout and like radar and like sonar.
Okay, so yeah, maybe that.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe that. I mean, it could be the interdictor. It could be.
I mean, the scout with this more stealthiness works as well, right? So it could be both of those things together.
Could be something really clever, like could be a super stealth.
But you also look at with the variants we have now with the Fireblade, and the other ones, right? The Renegade and the Valiant, right? It sounds like it's going to be another one of those, maybe.
No, I don't think it will be one of those because it was just a single listed ship. They're not going to do a single variant like that. I don't suspect. Unless it's some very specific thing. I think this is going to be a whole new variant.
Okay.
Because of the way it was listed.
Okay. And our last question from Ollie Ado. Speculation on the Carrick Scout ship.
Speculation on the Carrick? Oh, on the Pisces.
On the Pisces. I think it'll be called the Pisces.
As Saurus mentioned earlier, I think it might have stuff like shields and stuff to better resist environments.
Specific environmental.
Things. So yeah, it's going to be better at surviving horrible things. Would be my expectation of that, and probably really nice visibility in its cockpit, so you can go ooh, ooh,
ooh, ooh, ooh.
I'd like to see it being able to travel on planets, like almost like a. I'd like to see it like a dragonfly, but able to go in and out of orbit by itself. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah.
I think
something that can sort of move around on its own.
Yeah, that's what I want from a scout ship.
Yeah, so that leaves us with that. That's the end of the podcast. I know Bored's super tired, and after this, I have some things I need to do around the house, so I'm going to be getting off, but this is what we're going to do. Bored, where can people find you, and what are you up to?
In bed, mate, going to sleep. You can find me at BoredGamerUK pretty much on all the different social medias, whether that be the YouTubes or the Twitters, or in fact, the Twitches. I am going to be at BritizenCon this weekend. So on Friday, going down to BritizenCon, going to the airport. Miz is picking me up, and I'm going to see Super Mac Brothers. I'm going to see Detox. And all those people, and Maya, and everyone like that is going to be at BritizenCon. We're going to be drunk with Brian Chambers. There's competitions. There's lots of dev panels. It's going to be a pretty good event, hopefully. And if you're around the Radisson Blue Hotel in Manchester on the 22nd, please come down. If you're around the Manchester area or Windsor area on the 21st, we're having a bar citizen. So I'll see everyone there. I love your faces. You're the best. Who starts this? And I've got 1,000 videos to do.
Yeah, hey. And you guys can find me here on Twitch at WTFOSAURUS and on Twitter at WTFOSAURUS. I'm going to be doing a lot more IRL stuff lately. I had Twitch offer me an unlimited data thing, so I'll be doing that with them. More house streams. We have the Vancouver meetup this weekend. If you're going to be around, hit me up on either Twitch or Twitter, and we'll hang out. I'll buy you a beer. We'll do all kinds of cool stuff. I'm not going to be streaming after this. So what I want to do is I want to go raid. There's another podcast going on, a Star Citizen podcast.
What?
Yes.
The audacity.
Right?
The audacity of our podcast during our podcast. Who is it?
The Fortnightly Frontier is happening right now.
System, the thing that should have been in the game.
With Meyer and Darionator. So I want you guys to go over here. Twitch.tv/ what is it? Meyer_test. Yes. And I want you guys to I want you guys to redacted raid. Okay, like this. Okay, we're gonna right there. I want you guys to blow up his channel right now. We're gonna do it like this, and we're gonna host them as well. Just like that, guys. Go over there and show them some love over for them. Heading over to another Star Citizen podcast. Thank you so much for coming by, guys. We love you all in the face. And we will see you next week with a Twerkleson or a Trixie, maybe.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That'll be sexy.
All right, guys. Take care.
Take care, guys. See you the best. Woo!